Chapter 143, The Miracle Doctor Chart. In the Divine Dragon Medical Hall, a middle-aged man was shuddering as he lay on the bed next to his father. A few juveniles were standing at the side with caution. They wailed softly and did not dare to move, let alone talk. Scary. They did not know that the owner of this medical hall had such a strong background. Gazing at their elder brother and father who were lying on the beds, their faces turned pale. Initially, it only cost 2 million for the treatment. Now, it had shot up to 20 million. It's 20 million. How much can the Zhao family's companies pay? However, given such a circumstance now, they must pay. They had to pay. Because of their arrogance just now, they needed to pay a painful price 10 times more than before. Dragon King, these are some of our tokens of appreciations from the martial artists and families in Rivertown. I hope you can accept them. Yes, Dragon King. Please accept them. Let us know if we can be of some use to you in Rivertown in the future. The Ren family head, Old Duan, and Hu Fei spoke to Wang Xian fervently and respectfully. Your thoughts are appreciated. Just leave it aside, and calling me Wang Xian will do. Wang Xian smiled and nodded at them. Yes. The group of people smiled and nodded. They looked around and said with some hesitation, then we'll take our leave now. Please rest well. Okay, I still have some patients to attend to. Thank you for your concern. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. You're welcome. The group of people beamed at Wang Xian. Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head. Ren family head and the rest left, but only Old Shui stayed put. Old Shui, let me check your body, Wang Xian said to Old Shui with a smile. Thank you, Wang Xian. Old Shui thanked him as he followed Wang Xian to the second floor. In fact, Wang Xian had already cured Old Shui's injuries. But because Old Shui got implicated because of him last night, he decided to reward Old Shui. Lie down. I'll unblock your meridians for you, Wang Xian said with a smile. Unblock the meridians? Old Shui hesitated as he revealed a pondering look. He lay on the bed slowly. Wang Xian placed his hand inside Old Shui's body and injected an immense amount of dragon energy into his meridians. Even though Old Shui was a level 7 martial artist, his conception vessel and governing vessel were not unblocked yet. He did not use the dragon energy to unblock them. Instead, he unblocked all the vessels before the conception vessel and governing vessel. That is to say, if Old Shui wanted to attain level 9 in the future, it would take him a few months to do so, and it would be a breeze for him. Wang Xian clearly distinguished his gratitude and resentment. Old Shui moved his body on the bed, looking shocked. Done. Wang Xian smiled as he opened his eyes slightly. My meridians are unblocked. You actually unblocked my meridians. Old Shui flinched as he stared at Wang Xian with disbelief. You had a tough time yesterday. Wang Xian shook his head and smiled. Compared to what I have now, the pain I received yesterday was nothing. Old Shui shook his head and exclaimed. Others envied that I can make friends with you. I'm also envious of myself now. Unblocking the meridians. Only the top 10 miracle doctors of the Miracle Doctor Chart can do this. Your medical skill is extremely terrific. Miracle Doctor Chart? You didn't know about it? Asked Old Shui doubtfully. Wang Xian shook his head. The Miracle Doctor Chart is an international chart that consists of the top-notch miracle doctors in the world. The first on the chart is Hand of God from Europe. He's recognized as the world's #1. It is said that he is capable of reviving the dead. The second on the chart is Medical Saint from China. He's the current head of the Medical Saint sect. The third one is Sacred One, the head of the Sacred Followers Guild. Fourth is Emperor Samana from India and fifth is King Sanha from an island country. It is said that each miracle doctor is highly skilled in medicines, and they can also use special techniques to unblock the meridians to increase the cultivation speed. Of course, unblocking meridians needs to consume a large number of herbs. So it is tedious. Wang Xian, I'm really grateful that you can help me unblock them, Old Shui said to Wang Xian thankfully. Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. He did not know that there was such a chart around in the world. Wang Xian, I'll not disturb you further. Let me know when you need any help. Old Shui cupped his fist and said, "Sure, Old Shui." Wang Xian nodded his head and sent Old Shui to the door. After which, he spun around and looked at those who were standing in the medical hall obediently. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. He walked over and gave them treatment. Dr. Sun stood by the side with curiosity piqued. Her eyes were full of admiration. For the subsequent days, the Divine Dragon Medical Hall was finally made known in Rivertown. Every day, there would be 2 or 3 patients turning up at the medical hall to seek treatment. At the same time, not only did the medical skills of Miracle Dr. Wang become famous, but also the rules of the medical hall. Apart from the expensive fees, the patients must have a good attitude. Otherwise, no one knew how much Miracle Dr. Wang would quote for the cost of treatment. The medical hall received 2 or 3 patients and earned about 6 to 10 million a day. Within a short period of 10 days, his deposits hit $150 million. TSK, I'm also a billionaire now. Wang Xian lay on his deck chair and smiled to himself. Wang Xian was delighted as he'd penniless in the first place, but now he had $150 million in his hand. Brother. At this time, he suddenly heard Xiao Yu's voice. Wang Xian spun around and saw Xiao Yu, who was beautifully dressed. Ever since he'd strengthened Xiao Yu's constitution with his dragon energy, the military training was much easier for her. Her skin was not that tanned anymore. "You got a break?" asked Wang Xian with a smile. "Yes. I don't have military training tonight, and tomorrow is the last day of it." Xiao Yu walked in happily. She grinned at Wang Xian. "Why are you lying down here like an uncle?" "Hehe, I'm relaxing." "Get me a cup of tea," said Wang Xian smilingly to Xiao Yu. "Sure, my brother." Xiao Yu walked to the side, filled the teacup, and passed it to Wang Xian. "Brother, it's National Day soon. When are we going back?" "National Day?" Wang Xian paused and looked at his phone. Indeed, it was almost the end of the month. I had forgotten about it. "We're not going back. Brother, Sister Li is getting married on National Day. Don't you want to go back?" Xiao Yu rolled her eyes at Wang Xian. Then she picked up a huge body figure from the table. "She's getting married?" Wang Xian was stunned. "But Uncle Zhong did not tell me." "Sister Li told me. So I guess Uncle Zhong didn't tell you." "We need to go back on National Day," said Xiao Yu. She hesitated and decided to continue. "Brother, I want to tell you something. But you must not let anyone you know. A lady asked me to be her disciple and join her sect." I agreed. Chapter 144, Thistles and Thorns Sect. "What?" When Wang Xian heard his sister, he stood up immediately and stared at her in shock. "Brother, calm down. This isn't anything bad." Seeing her brother's agitated looks, Xiao Yu explained, this was a rather sci-fi matter. "Initially, I couldn't believe it either. However, when my master displayed unbelievable abilities, I realized that there are people who can walk on walls and injure others with just a leaf in this world. Brother, I'm going to become a heroine in the future." Wang Xian's eyebrows knitted together. "What's the name of the sect you are joining?" "Thistles and Thorns Sect. My master told me that our sect is very strong and is a second-class sect. Moreover, my master is incredible and is a level 8 martial artist." Xiao Yu answered before asking curiously, "Brother, do you know about sects?" Wang Xian nodded his head gradually. Wang Xian had not told Xiao Yu about the matters of the underworld. Since she had joined a sect by coincidence, Wang Xian did not intend to hide further. "Brother, you know about them too?" Xiao Yu's eyes stared, opened wide as she looked at Wang Xian in disbelief. "Do you think your brother's medical hall is just any ordinary medical hall?" Wang Xian smiled and said to Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu's eyes popped open and looked at Wang Xian in disbelief. She then asked suddenly, "Brother, you are so bad. Why don't you tell me about these things?" You are really bad to hide it from me. I wanted to share this matter with you once I learn about it." You have changed." Cough cough cough. Wang Xian started coughing violently upon hearing Xiao Yu. All right. It's your brother's fault. I just thought that the timing wasn't right." Xiao Yu stared at him and was clearly displeased. Wang Xian smiled and quickly walked in front of her. Did your master teach you any cultivation arts? Nope. Last night, my master said that I have great body constitution and talents. However, she said that I have to undergo examinations with other disciples tomorrow night before teaching us cultivation art. Xiao Yu answered. Tomorrow night? I'll go with you tomorrow. Wang Xian hesitated for a while before he shook. Brother, you are going with me? This might not be acceptable. Xiao Yu replied shyly. It will be fine. You can tell them I'm from the ancient martial arts circle too. Moreover, since you are entering the ancient martial arts circle, your master will know that you can't hide it from your family. I don't think she will say no, Wang Xian said. All right then, let me ask my master. Xiao Yu nodded her head and continued, Brother, my master is a really, really beautiful lady. Is she? That's great. If your master was a guy, I might not agree to him taking you as a disciple, Wang Xian joked. Xiao Yu rolled her eyes at him. The main reason why I'm here today is to ask you something. Brother, now that you are so rich, should we buy some presents for Sister Li's wedding? Also, shall we get some presents for Uncle Zhong? Wang Xian nodded his head. Let me get some gifts for Uncle Zhong and Sister Li. Uncle Zhong and his family have been taking care of us. It's about time that we repay and thank him. Uncle Zhong had always seen them as his own family and took great care of them. For some people, although they weren't related by blood, their relationships were closer than those with blood ties. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu had always remembered how Uncle Zhong had taken care of them and their grandmother. It's only natural for them to return this gratitude as though Uncle Zhong was their kin. I'll leave this to brother then. I'm hungry, brother. Bring me out for dinner. Xiao Yu pulled her brother's hands as she asked him. What do you want to have for dinner? Wang Xian caressed her head and asked. I want to have steamboat. Why don't we ask sister-in-law to eat with us? Xiao Yu smiled and asked. All right. Before this, follow me to the upper story. Wang Xian brought Xiao Yu to the upper story and asked her to lie on the bed. Brother, what do you want to do? Xiao Yu looked inquisitively at Wang Xian and asked. I'm not sick. Just lie down. Let brother examine your health. Wang Xian patted on her head. I'll make you sleep for 5 minutes in a while. Close your eyes. Oh. Xiao Yu nodded her head and closed her eyes. She knew that what her brother was doing would be for her good. Wang Xian tapped lightly on Xiao Yu's body and she fell unconscious immediately. Over the last few days, he had been reading some medical books. He understood a little about how to knock one unconscious by tapping at certain spots of the body. These small techniques were still useful for him. Regardless of whether Thistles and Thorns sect is good or bad, since Xiao Yu will be entering the ancient martial arts circle, let me strengthen her body a little. The reason why Xiao Yu was spotted by her master was probably because Wang Xian had strengthened her body previously. While Wang Xian was at it, he decided to help Xiao Yu open all her meridians. He wanted Xiao Yu to be an existence that equaled one who was favored by gods no matter where she was. Dense dragon energy entered Xiao Yu's body and into her meridians directly. Xiao Yu's body had been strengthened previously. There were almost no impurities in her body. And now, all 8 extraordinary meridians were opened. Based on what Wang Xian knew of the ancient martial arts circle, those that were born with their 8 extraordinary meridians opened were known as having an inborn constitution. Inborn constitution only existed within the myths. There might not be even one in 100 million people. However, as long as one with inborn constitution was to start cultivating, he would definitely reach the inborn realm. Horrifying. After exhausting some dragon energy to open all 8 extraordinary meridians on Xiao Yu, Wang Xian tapped on her body again. Brother, it's done? After recovering consciousness, Xiao Yu looked at Wang Xian. All right, let's go have steamboat. Wang Xian smiled and went over to first-grade restaurant to get Guan Shuqing. After which, they walked to the steamboat restaurant around the corner. 8 p.m. Wang Xian sent Xiao Yu back to the dormitory before returning to the medical hall to give Old Shui a call. Old Shui, I have something to ask you. Do you know anything about Thistles and Thorns sect? Wang Xian went straight to the point. Thistles and Thorns Sect. Old Shuai was taken aback slightly. I know a little about them. They are a rather good sect within the province and could be considered as a second-class sect. Nonetheless, their actions are righteous and open, and they could be considered as an orthodox sect. The sect leader is a half-step to inborn expert. I heard that there are several sects who come to Rivertown to recruit disciples recently. Did Brother Wang Xian come across them? My sister was selected by a member of the Thistles and Thorns sect. Therefore, I'm just asking around, replied Wang Xian. In that case, please give me some time. I'll get you more detailed information, Old Shuai immediately replied. All right, thank you, Old Shuai. Wang Xian nodded his head. In less than 10 minutes, an information file was sent to Wang Xian. Wang Xian opened it with his computer. Not only was there information on Thistles and Thorns sect, but there was also information on other sects. Chapter 145, Selection of Disciples. The Thistles and Thorns sect was an influential second-class sect in the province. They had a half-step to inborn expert and dozens of level 9 martial artists in the sect. There were 3 sects in the southern province. One was the third-class sect, Green Lotus Sword sect. Another one was also a second-class sect, Northern Summit sect. Of course, not including some substandard sects. These 3 sects were recruiting disciples in the entire southern province. However, a few sects came to Rivertown for recruitment because there were no sects in the Rivertown, except for those martial art families. But the families never released their art of cultivation to outsiders. This meant that there was a chance of finding many talented people in Rivertown. On top of that, the Yang family was said to be exterminated by a mysterious expert. These sects got outrageous since the Rivertown suffered a loss in strength. Looks like there isn't many powerful sects or families in the entire southern province. Wang Xian looked at the information he got and grinned. Tomorrow, I shall check them out with Xiao Yu, Wang Xian thought to himself. He then shut down his computer and walked towards his dormitory. The next morning, Wang Xian received a notification from Xiao Yu that her master agreed to let him come along. At about 6 p.m., Wang Xian arrived at the school entrance. When he reached it, he spotted Xiao Yu waiting with a woman. Wang Xian looked at her. Referring to her as a woman sounded a little too old for her. She should be a young woman, as she looked to be about 30 years old with a perfect figure. This was the best figure Wang Xian had ever seen, wearing quaint clothes. Her hair was bund up, and she had fair and flawless skin. Her watery and bright eyes looked very beautiful. In comparison, even Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyu lost out to her as their charms were lacking. Xiao Yu. Wang Xian put on a smiling face as he shouted. Brother. Xiao Yu beamed as she waved her hand. She immediately turned to the woman and said, Master, he's my elder brother. Okay. That woman nodded as she fixed her gaze on Wang Xian and began to observe him before shifting her eyes away again. Brother, this is my master. Xiao Yu introduced softly. Hello. Wang Xian greeted the woman. Follow me. It's getting late, the woman said to them with a nod. Yes, master. Xiao Yu stuck out her tongue and beckoned Wang Xian as they followed her master to a Mercedes car. Elder Fang. A middle-aged driver greeted the woman respectfully in the car. Let's go, said the woman. Yes. The driver nodded and started the car immediately. Brother, my master wanted me to remind you not to speak or walk around when you're there. Just keep still and watch. There should be a lot of people tonight. Xiao Yu whispered a reminder to Wang Xian in the back of the car. Don't worry. Wang Xian smiled and patted her head. The car drove out of the city for an hour before they came to the cross-border between Rivertown and Pengju. Pengju was Wang Xian's hometown, but they were still far from his home. The car stopped in a somewhat remote area, where there was a small neighborhood. When the car entered, Wang Xian realized that this district was not as simple as it seemed. The environment in this district was pleasant. But in this neighborhood, someone could jump up to a stone platform that was as high as 3 to 4 meters. Many weapons like machetes, spears, and rods were found in the surroundings, which seemed a little out of the world. This must be a branch of the Thistles and Thorns sect, or their headquarters. Wang Xian pondered to himself when the car was parked in a parking lot. Wang Xian looked around and realized many branded cars were parked over here. There were a total of 40 to 50 cars with Pengju and Rivertown's car plates around. "Follow me," the woman said coldly, leading them from the front. They came to somewhere at the back with a training ground in front. But a crystal-like thing was placed in the middle of it. The crystal was a hexagon shape, emitting a special glow that looked extraordinary, with tall and huge poplars surrounding it. At this time, hundreds of people were standing in the field. There was a middle-aged man in a suit with a juvenile beside him, and a well-dressed old man with his grandchild. Based on their dressing, it was easy to tell that they were rich people. "Both of you wait here and don't run around. The sect will begin the test later. I'll be leaving to settle some stuff now." Xiao Yu's master reminded them of this before she walked to a room. Xiao Yu nodded and looked around with curiosity. So many people. At least dozens of them want to join the Thistles and Thorns sect. Wang Xian observed the surrounding with a curious look on his face. "Brother, not every one of them can enter the sect. Most of them will be eliminated," Xiao Yu said to him with pride on her face, "but my master said that I just need to go through the process. After that, I can join the Thistles and Thorns sect for sure." "You're amazing." Wang Xian smiled and said to Xiao Yu. "Of course. I'm definitely awesome." Xiao Yu raised her chin slightly and said in a cute voice. "Sigh, I wonder if my child can make it into the Thistles and Thorns sect." "Certainly, Director Zhao. Your son is suave and charming. He must be a talent." "I hope so. Director Wang, your son has an 80% chance. I heard he was praised by an expert." "Hihi, well, my son did not let me down. That expert said my son has high hopes. This time, it is a rare opportunity in the last 10 years for Thistles and Thorns sect to recruit disciples in the open. I hope my son or daughter can get in." The discussions around Wang Xian made him understand something. The Thistles and Thorns sect not only sent their men to recruit disciples. Some people with resources brought their children to join too. It would just depend on their endowment to join the sect. "Hey, excuse me." Just then, a voice that was louder than the discussion was heard. Everyone was discussing at a soft volume, as they did not dare to raise their voice. Apparently, this person did not care about it. All the people frowned slightly and looked over with a displeased look. "That is the Song family. It's the Song family. I heard that someone from the Song family joined the Thistles and Thorns sect a few decades ago. Now, he's the elder of the sect. Each time, a member of the Song family can join the Thistles and Thorns sect directly. Song family of Pengju. They are the colossal existence in Pengju. No wonder they dare to raise their voice here. That juvenile is Song Awen. I heard he was selected by that elder in the Song family when he was a child. That elder taught him cultivation art. Now, he's only 18, and he is already a level 4 martial artist with astonishing talents. He almost can join the Thistles and Thorns sect straight away. One that is favored by God. This is the supreme talent." One by one, they spun around to look at the incoming person with amazed looks on their faces. Xiao Yu also looked over with her curiosity piqued. An imposing juvenile in white had his chin up, and a haughty look on his face. A level 4 martial artist. "He's awesome." Xiao Yu exclaimed softly with a face full of envy. "You will soon become one too. Don't worry." Wang Xian smiled. Given Xiao Yu's inborn constitution now, she could easily hit level 4. "Heh, do you think it's that easy to become a level 4 martial artist?" At this time, a contemptuous voice was heard. Chapter 146, Shiver in Fear, 1. A voice that had a mocking intonation caused Wang Xian and Xiao Yu to frown slightly. Xiao Yu turned around angrily and looked to the one who was speaking. The voice came from a girl that was approximately 17 to 18 years old. She had a ponytail and looked extremely pretty. Her proud demeanor made her look just like a little swan. "I'm talking to my brother and this has nothing to do with you. Moreover, as long as I work hard, I'll be able to reach martial artist level 4 quickly." Xiao Yu gave the girl a harsh stare as she spoke grumpily. "You! Let's see if you can even make it into Thistles and Thorns sect." The girl looked at Xiao Yu with contempt. She lifted her head proudly and said arrogantly, "I'm already a level 2 martial artist and an expert has agreed to take me as her disciple." "All right, Yanga. After you become a martial artist, you've got to be aware of your identity." A middle-aged man beside the girl glanced at Xiao Yu as he spoke to his daughter. "I understand, father. I'm not an ordinary woman from here on." The girl nodded proudly, lifted her head high and ignored Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu pouted and said angrily, "Who said I can't enter the Thistles and Thorns sect? My master is an elder." "What?" The girl beside her was slightly shocked and looked at Xiao Yu. "Your master is an elder?" Xiao Yu didn't want to entertain her. She grabbed Wang Xian's arm with both of her hands and put on an expression that seemed to suggest that she did not want to entertain her. Wang Xian patted Xiao Yu's head. This girl looked just like a young girl from a small family most of the time, but she did have times when she was very competitive. With regard to Xiao Yu's decision to join the Thistles and Thorns sect, Wang Xian had no objections and allowed her to do as she wished. With Wang Xian's current strength, it would be easy for him to find her a better sect or get her an art of cultivation to cultivate. However, he did not do so. Since it was similar, even if she cultivated in other places, it would be fine as long as his sister was happy. Lies. Seeing Xiao Yu chose to ignore her, the girl beside Xiao Yu grumbled. Wang Xian glanced at that girl and his lips curved up slightly. "The elders of Thistles and Thorns sect are coming." At this moment, a voice pierced the atmosphere. Wang Xian looked over and saw the higher management of Thistles and Thorns sect walking over. There were a total of 7 people and they wore a common uniform with a logo in the shape of a thorn at the chest area. At the forefront of the group was an old lady. Xiao Yu's master, Elder Fang, was amongst the group too. The old man in the middle is the vice-sect leader of Thistles and Thorns sect, Old Lei. Ordinary matters of the sect were all handled by Old Lei. "The elders are here." The one beside Old Lei is Zhao Qingshan, an elder of the Zhao family. Some people who were familiar with the higher management of Thistles and Thorns sect commented softly. As the 7 of them approached, the entire training field also quietened down. Everyone looked respectfully towards the 7 higher management members of the Thistles and Thorns sect. "Time's up, those who aren't here don't have to come." Vice-sect leader Lei of the Thistles and Thorns sect looked at the crowd before speaking to another elder beside her. "Yes, Vice-sect leader Lei. Everyone is present. Let's start with their assessment." The other elder nodded his head, looked at the crowd and announced, "The assessment of the Thistles and Thorns sect would begin soon. Please get ready. Those who pass our assessment will become a member of the Thistles and Thorns sect in the future, while failures will have to leave. Now, come forward one by one." The elder nodded his head in satisfaction as he saw everyone listening quietly and attentively. He signaled to a young man near him. The young man nodded his head, brought a book with him and walked towards the transparent hexagon crystal. "Come forward for the assessment when I call out your name." The young man looked at the crowd and shouted, "Zhongxing, Pengju." "Here," a juvenile answered anxiously. "Come up." The young man looked at the juvenile and instructed. "Yes, yes." The juvenile walked to the young man and looked at him anxiously. "Place your hands on the assessment crystal," the young man said to the juvenile. The juvenile nodded his head and placed his hands on the crystal. A magical thing happened. To his surprise, a black and blurry human figure appeared within the crystal. When the young man saw it, he shook his head. "Fail, you can go back." "Huh?" That juvenile was shocked. With a disappointed look, he lowered his head as he walked back. What just happened? How did he fail? How does this assessment work? How do they determine success or failure? Below the platform, the crowd looked on with doubts. This is an assessment crystal. You can just see it as a piece of unique assessment equipment. When you place your hands on the crystal, dark spots will appear in the crystal. The greater the number of dark spots, the poorer one's talents are. Below the platform, a middle-aged man from where the Song family was standing explained to the crowd. "That's right. Anyone who touches the assessment crystal will cause the crystal to be tainted. The level of pollution determines one's talents. The greater the black spots, the poorer one's talents are. If an image of a black man appeared, It would mean that the person has zero cultivation talent. The young man nodded his head and explained to the crowd. The crowd nodded their heads slightly. The juveniles who were here for the assessment looked anxiously at the assessment crystal. Next, Lu Yun, another juvenile, walked forward. When he placed his hands on the crystal, a black man figure appeared. The juvenile was embarrassed. Fail, next. Fail, next. After 4 consecutive juveniles failing, the remaining crowd got nervous. It's so hard to get into Thistles and Thorns sect and become a martial artist. Next, Ziyanga. TSK, I'll definitely pass. Beside Wang Xian and Xiao Yu, that juvenile girl with a ponytail lifted her head, walked forward confidently and placed her hands on the crystal. Some black spots appeared on the crystal gradually. However, the black spots were clearly much lesser than the previous 4 candidates. When the young man saw the black spots in the crystals, he smiled and announced, "Middle-class talents, pass." Ziyanga lifted her head proudly and walked down the platform. That juvenile girl actually passed. She's really lucky. Middle-class talents are considered to be really great talents for cultivation. The crowd sighed emotionally and looked at the juvenile girl in envy. The higher management members of Thistles and Thorns sect also revealed faint smiles while watching from above. Middle-class talents could be considered as great. When Ziyanga walked past Xiao Yu, she lifted her head proudly and sneered. Xiao Yu pouted. Next. The assessment carried on. There was a total of 40+ juveniles and the assessment was carried out at a quick pace. Approximately 1 out of 5 or 6 would pass. Moreover, most of them only had ordinary talents. Next, Song Awen. When reading out this name, the young man raised his voice and looked to where the Song family was with a radiant smile. Junior brother, you are still taking the assessment. With your strength, it's a done deal that you can enter our Thistles and Thorns sect, the young man said to the approaching Song Awen with the intention of getting on his good books. I have not assessed my own talents previously. Therefore, I would like to give it a try. Song Awen smiled radiantly and nodded his head as he walked up to the platform. Elder Song, your grandson is really talented to reach martial artist level 4 at such a young age. I'm afraid even our disciples aren't as talented. Where the higher management members stood, a middle-aged elder spoke to Elder Song. Haha, he's still fine. Elder Song smiled. Although he might have sounded humble, his face was filled with pride. Elder Song's grandson's talents are at least middle class. In fact, he might even be better. Vice sect leader smiled and commented. At least middle class and might be even better. Congratulations, Elder Song. The remaining members congratulated. Hihi, let's take a look. Let's take a look, Elder Song said with smiles. On the platform, Song Awen walked towards the assessment crystal confidently and placed his hands on it. Tiny black spots appeared. They were few, even fewer than Ziyanga. The young man was shocked and exclaimed, "High-class talent. High-class talents." Upon hearing the exclamations of the young man, Song Awen smiled proudly. Not too far off from what I expected. Junior brother Song, you might be able to reach the heights of Elder Song or even higher in the future, the young man said with envy. Haha, great. Seeing his grandson's performance, Elder Song revealed a proud look. Congratulations, congratulations. Beside him, the other elders congratulated Elder Song. Elder Song waved his hand and remarked, I had not expected this from my grandson either. We are really lucky to recruit a disciple of high-class talents this year, Vice Sect Leader Lei commented joyously. Didn't Junior Sister Fang recruit a new disciple? This is Junior Sister Fang's first disciple. I believe her talents should be exceptional too. Among the 7 people, there were only 2 female members. Suddenly, the middle-aged lady looked to Elder Fang and asked this jokingly. What? Are you thinking of snatching my disciple away again? Elder Fang asked coldly, glancing emotionlessly at the middle-aged woman. Haha, Junior Sister Fang, you are reading too much into it. My disciple also has high-class talents. She isn't much inferior to Elder Song's disciple. Why would I snatch your disciples? The middle-aged woman said nonchalantly. TSK. Would the disciple I found last month run over to you suddenly for no reason? Elder Fang replied coldly. That's her own decision. New things wouldn't come if the old things aren't gone. Perhaps this disciple of yours would have top-class talents. Hee hee. The middle-aged man mocked and embarrassed Elder Fang. All right, let's carry on. Seeing the two female elders quarreling, Vice Sect Leader Lei waved his hands helplessly and interrupted. Chapter 14, 7, Shiver in Fear, 2. Elder Fang and Elder Ju shared a huge conflict all the time. A month ago, Elder Fang had found a talented disciple, but Elder Ju snatched that disciple away. Everyone knew about this, but none of them said anything. After all, that disciple had the final right to choose Elder Ju. Elder Fang could only suffer her loss in silence. The middle-aged woman, Elder Ju, cast a glance at Elder Fang as she straightened her body on the chair and continued looking at the field. Next, Wang Yu. One by one, the young girls and boys went up to the stage. When the youthful voice was heard again, Xiao Yu threw a nervous look at Wang Xian. Go on. Wang Xian said to Xiao Yu with a smiling face. Okay. Xiao Yu nodded as she walked perturbingly towards the assessment crystal. She's the one you brought? Vice Sect Leader Lei asked Elder Fang on the stage when he saw Xiao Yu walking up the stage. Yes. Elder Fang nodded. She's not bad. Is she better than Qiu Yun? Elder Ju, who was next to her, said with a smile. Elder Fang frowned and kept her silence. Several elders around them shook their heads at this. High-class talents were 1 in a million. How could it be easy for Elder Fang to seek another one again? To practice the ancient martial art, it's not only about being a talent, but also depends on the personal efforts and understanding. Vice Sect Leader Lei consoled her. That's true. Hee hee. Elder Ju chuckled in agreement, but her tone was full of sarcasm. Elder Fang remained calm and fixed her gaze on Xiao Yu. She knew that Xiao Yu was a talent, but she was still far from the disciple which she'd found a month ago. I just ask for her to be someone of good character, unlike the previous one. Elder Fang had coldness flashing in her eyes as she thought to herself. Heh, I want to see what kind of talent you are. Zi Yanger, next to Wang Xian, glared at Xiao Yu with a smirk. Only that juvenile from the Song family was better than you. The rest are not as good as you. Hee hee, the middle-aged man beside her said to his daughter as he watched the training ground with a prideful face. Place your hand on the crystal. On seeing Xiao Yu on stage, the young man instructed her. Okay. Xiao Yu nodded as she placed her hand slowly. Everyone's attention was fixed on Xiao Yu. She's quite pretty. Song Aowen from the Song family commented smilingly when he saw Xiao Yu. Hee hee, you've grown up. Song Aowen's father patted his shoulder and said, if you like her, go ahead and woo her. You are old enough. Hee hee. Song Aowen giggled and observed Xiao Yu from head to toe. Xiao Yu placed her palm onto the crystal. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Ha! No reaction. All the people were stunned as they stared at the crystal with surprise. The crystal had no reaction at all. It was as though it was not activated. The young man standing at the side watched in surprise. Why is there no reaction from the crystal at all? What's the matter? The higher management members on the platform knit their eyebrows. Could the assessment crystal break down? An elder raised the question. Impossible. The assessment crystal can never break down, an elder rebuked immediately. Elder Fang knit her eyebrows. She darted out and landed beside Xiao Yu. After careful examination, Xiao Yu's palm was touching the assessment crystal firmly. Master, this doesn't seem to be responding. Xiao Yu looked at the crystal under her hand with confusion. She was at a loss. Lift your hand. Elder Fang said with a frown. Okay. Xiao Yu nodded and raised her hand. Elder Fang stretched her hand out, and a tinge of black color appeared in the crystal. She raised her eyebrow before she grabbed Xiao Yu's hand and placed it on the assessment crystal again. What's the matter? Vice Sect Leader Lei stood up on the platform and asked doubtfully. Is she a jinx or what? Elder Ju said wickedly. All of the people were watching curiously as they wondered what was happening. Elder Fang had mixed expression when the assessment crystal was not responding to Xiao Yu's touch. She hesitated before she placed her hand on Xiao Yu with flickering eyes. Immediately, a stream of internal energy passed through Xiao Yu's hand and went towards the assessment crystal. With a soft sound heard, the assessment crystal seemed to be activated as it was giving off a luster glow. The glow continued to be incandescent under the moonlight. This, Elder Fang narrowed her pupils with a trembling body. She stared at the glowing assessment crystal with disbelief. She could not believe it even now. Even when the crystal was glowing, she still felt like it was a dream. This is... Suddenly, the vice sect leader Lei's eyes were agape. He could not help but exclaim with a shaking body as he looked at the glowing assessment crystal. His roar was so loud that some average people found it unbearable. Flawless and pure, inborn constitution, Elder Ju stood up immediately as she repeated the words with a shaken and nasty look. Flawless and pure, inborn constitution. All the elders stood up too. One by one, they darted out and showed up in front of Xiao Yu. What's the matter? Why are the higher management members of the Thistles and Thorns sect so excited? That young girl can make the assessment crystal give out a white luster glow. What's going on actually? Judging from the look of the higher management members, it seems like that girl is a tremendous talent. What does pure and flawless mean? On seeing the excitement of the higher management members, everyone was puzzled as they discussed. Xiao Yu, you actually have an inborn constitution. An inborn constitution, but I checked on you. You. Elder Fang could not believe it as she grabbed Xiao Yu on her shoulder and spoke with excitement. Master, I have no idea either. Xiao Yu was lost as she looked at her master. Seeing all the elders and vice sect leaders beside her, she turned back to peer at Wang Xian timidly. Little girl, let Grandpa check your body. The vice sect leader Lei stretched out his hand to Xiao Yu with a shaking voice. Xiao Yu was puzzled as she looked back at vice sect leader Lei. Did he call himself Grandpa? Xiao Yu stretched out her hand. With a pair of trembling hands, vice sect leader Lei did not look like a vice sect leader now. All the surrounding elders stared hard at them with heavy breaths. Vice sect leader Lei placed his hand gently on Xiao Yu's hand as though he was afraid he might hurt her. He closed his eyes, and a gentle stream of internal energy flowed into Xiao Yu's body. The energy went through her 8 extraordinary meridians slowly. Vice sect leader Lei's body was shaking as tears of excitement slowly ran down his cheeks. Fuck. It's really the inborn constitution. Chapter 148, Saintus, 1. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Suddenly, vice sect leader Lei laughed raucously. Without any premonition, his laughter resounded within the entire training field. His laughter was just like that of a maniac or retarded person. However, vice sect leader Lei wasn't bothered. Heaven is blessing our Thistles and Thorns sect. Heaven is blessing our Thistles and Thorns sect. Vice sect leader Lei roared out in agitation. She really is. Inborn constitution. The surrounding elders' eyes popped open and they were thrilled. Inborn constitution. Inborn constitution. They knew clearly what this would mean. This would mean that within 5 years, Thistles and Thorns sect would have an inborn expert as they advanced and became a first-class sect. They would also become the strongest existence in the southern province. For the entire Thistles and Thorns sect, this was a blessing from the heavens. One could easily say that they were favored by the heavens. What just happened? Why would vice sect leader Lei be so agitated? That juvenile girl must have some incredible talents. Otherwise, vice sect leader Lei wouldn't lose his composure. Inborn constitution? Could it be a horrifyingly strong existence? The surrounding crowd was dumbfounded to see the maniac vice sect leader Lei and agitated elders. Inborn constitution. Where the Song family was, they understood ancient martial arts a lot more than ordinary people because of Elder Song. When they heard those words, everyone was shocked. Song Awan sank into a daze as he looked at the juvenile girl on the platform as though he was retarded. As compared to the inborn constitution, his high-class talents could be considered as trash. Inborn constitution really exists in the world. A few members of the Song family were still in a daze. Inborn constitution had been circulated as part of mythology. It had been a few hundred years since there was a human with inborn constitution. Master, is inborn constitution incredible? Seeing the thrilled looks of the elders and the vice sect leader, Xiao Yu asked her master this curiously. Inborn constitution, Xiao Yu, you might not know what this truly means. Elder Fang helped to comb Xiao Yu's hair as she explained. This would mean that you could reach the inborn realm quickly and become an expert stronger than even your master and our sect leader. So incredible. Xiao Yu's eyes popped open and her mouth opened slightly in awe. We can't let others know about the inborn constitution. At this moment, vice sect leader Lei turned solemn. He knew that he had been too agitated a while ago and had not controlled his emotions. As a result, everyone knew about it. We can't let other sects know about this. Otherwise, we would attract lots of trouble. Elder Song also added solemnly. Vice sect leader Lei put on a stern face, turned around, looked at the crowd and announced, those who wish to join our Thistles and Thorns sect today will be enrolled. Besides this, with regard to the inborn constitution, everyone has to forget about it and not mention it to others. Otherwise, kill. Vice sect leader Lei's stern voice reached the ears of everyone and everyone could sense the killing intent within it. The surrounding crowd was shocked. As for those juveniles who had been eliminated in the assessment, they were thrilled. Thistles and Thorns sect had allowed them to join because of her. It's all because of that girl, that Thistles and Thorns sect enrolled everyone. Some people felt it was unreal in thinking that the Thistles and Thorns sect would be wasting their resources to groom those without talents because of this juvenile girl. However, the families of these juveniles knew why Thistles and Thorns sect would do so. It was to silence them and prevent them from leaking information about inborn constitution. Now that their kids had joined Thistles and Thorns sect, they would enjoy both the fame or obscurity that would come with it in the future. Once Thistles and Thorns sect got into trouble, their kids would too. Besides that, Thistles and Thorns sect probably had another intention in mind. That was if you dared to leak anything, your kid would be dead. Although the actions of Thistles and Thorns sect had the intention of threats, no one was opposed to it. Instead, they were thrilled. They did not know how incredible inborn constitution was, but they did hear vice sect leader Lei commenting that the heavens were blessing Thistles and Thorns sect. Inborn constitution must be an incredibly horrifying existence to make the vice sect leader of Thistles and Thorns sect lose his composure. Thistles and Thorns sect would likely get stronger and stronger in the future. In that case, their kids would also do better in the future. Thank you, vice sect leader Lei. We don't know anything that happened tonight. Even if others are to place a knife by our necks, we would not speak a word about today. That's right. We would die before we said anything about what happened today. Members of each family gave their promises one after another regarding not speaking of what had happened. Great, great. Vice sect leader Lei nodded his head in satisfaction. He turned to the other elder and instructed, inform the sect leader right away and ask him to get here as soon as possible. Yes. That elder nodded his head immediately. Under normal circumstances, they naturally wouldn't request the sect leader to come over immediately. However, the sect leader had to rush over immediately this time. Vice sect leader Lei stared at Xiao Yu intensely before heaving out a long sigh. With a friendly smile, she asked, "Is your name Xiao Yu?" Our sect leader will be here in a while. We will be letting the sect leader guide your cultivation in the future. Our sect leader is a half-step to inborn expert and we would provide you with the best resources. What do you think? Seeing how vice sect leader Lei reacted, Xiao Yu pulled back. She felt a little like a big grey wolf asking a little rabbit to open the door. Elder Fang wasn't looking pleased. She knew what vice sect leader Lei meant by asking Xiao Yu to go under the wing of the sect leader and providing her with the best resources. Although she wasn't comfortable, she did not speak a word. Xiao Yu had an inborn constitution after all. If Xiao Yu announced she had an inborn constitution, even the sacred sects would fight over her. She's not qualified to become the master of Xiao Yu. Master. Xiao Yu lifted her head and pulled Elder Fang's arm. Elder Fang had a bitter look. Xiao Yu, I'm not qualified to become your master. Let our sect leader guide you. Master, I have already seen you as my master. Moreover, it is you who brought me here. My brother also agrees to you being my master. Xiao Yu looked at Elder Fang and said, Xiao Yu, your master would be our sect leader. He's the strongest in our sect. Elder Fang is not qualified to guide you. Elder Ju glanced at Elder Fang in envy before saying this to Xiao Yu with a smile. She called Xiao Yu a Joanex previously but didn't dare to do so now. Instead, she couldn't wait to get on the good books of this future inborn expert. Xiao Yu looked at her master, feeling indecisive. She had already taken Elder Fang as her master from the bottom of her heart. However, Elder Fang had also wanted the sect leader to guide her. This made her feel a little indecisive. The crowd below the platform saw what had happened and almost fainted. What the? Vice sect leader wants the sect leader to be your master and yet you are hesitating? How infuriating. Chapter 149, Saintess, 2. She will continue to have Elder Fang as her teacher. Seeing Xiao Yu growing flustered, Wang Xian slowly stepped forward from the audience. He knew about the Thistles and Thorns sect. The sect leader was a 90-year-old man. When he thought about Xiao Yu becoming the disciple of an old man, he preferred Elder Fang to him. Besides, as Xiao Yu progressed with her cultivation, the sect leader would still be able to guide her. Moreover, Wang Xian would be around too. Who are you? This is not something you can poke your nose in. Me. Upon hearing Wang Xian's comment, Elder Ju frowned and shouted at him. Brother. Xiao Yu spun around and called him as soon as she heard his voice. Ha! Is he your brother? The Elder Ju was stunned, and her expression quickly changed. She observed Wang Xian from head to toe. I wasn't expecting you to be Xiao Yu's brother. Not bad. Do you want to join the Thistles and Thorns sect too? How about this? I'll take you as my disciple and groom you. Wang Xian was speechless as he looked at the middle-aged woman. What a fence-sitter. He is. At that point in time, a young man had stepped out suddenly and declared that he was Xiao Yu's brother. All eyes were on him. Those who wished to join the Thistles and Thorns sect were all people from Pengju and Rivertown. Among those were ancient martial artists from Rivertown who did not join any sects, and they were not from any families as their strength was not strong enough. They were considered rogue cultivators. Some of the rogue cultivators wanted their sons or grandchildren to join the Thistles and Thorns sect for a better cultivation environment. At the same time, they could get themselves a strong backing. Hence, they brought their offspring here. Wang Xian had been hiding in the crowd, and hence, no one recognized him. But when he walked out, those who came from Rivertown recognized him immediately. He is here. Those rogue cultivators from Rivertown were struck by terror. Whatever happened that night was still vivid to them. That young man led the dragon sect and trampled the Yang family. Since then, that terrifying inborn expert had cursed every one of them. Whenever anyone wanted to talk about what happened that night, that person would die an immediate death. A terrifying curse. However, they did not mind about the curse as they had participated in that incident as well. They did it to ensure that no one would ever leak out the truth. She's the younger sister of the Dragon King. No wonder she has the inborn constitution, those rogue cultivators from Rivertown thought to themselves. They walked towards Wang Xian, ignoring all the strange looks cast on them. Greetings to the Dragon King. Dozens of middle-aged old men brought their children over to Wang Xian respectfully and greeted him. The one over here is the real king. What is Thistles and Thorns sect to him? Isn't he the miracle Dr. Wang? Not only were those rogue cultivators from Rivertown stunned, but those wealthy people who had some connections were also stunned when they saw Wang Xian. They might not know what had happened to the Yang family, but they knew the miracle doctor of Rivertown, Miracle Dr. Wang. It was said that Miracle Dr. Wang had the ultimate skills in Rivertown, and that even old Qin and the Qin family had to treat him politely. Besides, there were those affluent people who attended the Qin family's dinner that night too. Hence, they did not hesitate at all when they saw the rogue cultivators go up to him and greet him. Miracle Dr. Wang. Another dozen people came to Wang Xian and greeted him with humility too. This had caused the people from Thistles and Thorns sect and Pengju to be dumbfounded. What's with those from Rivertown? Why are they so respectful to that young man? Dragon King? Miracle Dr. Wang? What a title. Those who are here are somewhat capable people. Yet, they are so respectful to that young man. Who is he? What sort of background does he have? Wang Xian looked at those people from the river town, nodded his head slightly and waved them off. The rogue cultivators and the rich did utter a word and returned to their original spots. Gosh! This! What did it feel like when some courtiers were paying their respects to their king? Unbelievable, unbelievable. All the Pengju people were taken aback as they wondered how formidable this young man was, making these people back off with just a gesture. The higher management of the Thistles and Thorns sect was staring at Wang Xian with disbelief too. Even Vice Sect leader Lei showed a doubtful look in his eyes. Elder Song, I asked you to check on the information from Rivertown. Vice Sect leader Lei, I remember. It's him. So it's him. Elder Song suddenly interrupted Vice Sect leader Lei as he continued with a shocked face. According to the info that we got, there was a mysterious young man known as Miracle Dr. Wang in Rivertown. He defeated Fang Huazi, who was ranked 18th in the domestic Miracle Doctors chart easily with his medical skills. At the same time, he crippled Fang Huazi's arms. Also, we found out that all the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown share a close relationship with this young man. When we wanted to dig deeper, we couldn't find any further information. Now he operates a medical hall in Rivertown. He charges a high consultation fee and is known as the Crazy Doctor. In Rivertown, it is said that he can treat all illnesses. Elder Song swept a glance at Wang Xian with radiance flickering in his eyes as he spoke with some shock. Miracle Dr. Wang in the Rivertown? I've heard of him. He defeated the Sacred Followers Guild, which goes to show that he is formidable, another elder said with a solemn face. Xiao Yu was among them as she listened to their remarks about her brother. Her lips were slightly parted, as she did not expect her brother would be so powerful. A miracle doctor is equivalent to a sect. Vice Sect leader Lei said slowly, and everyone was struck with complex thoughts. Indeed. A miracle doctor is equivalent to a sect. Those miracle doctors on the Miracle Doctors chart would have a strong network. They could even get a half step to inborn martial artist over if they asked for it. The inborn experts could even owe those better doctors a considerable favor. With the strength that could defeat Fang Huazi from the Sacred Followers Guild, and also being ranked 18th on the Miracle Doctor chart, this was good enough for the Thistles and Thorns sect to be wary of. I did not expect Xiao Yu's brother was such a famous person. Radiance flickered in Elder Fang's eyes. The disciple whom she discovered accidentally had a more profound and more terrifying background. Xiao Yu's brother is Miracle Dr. Wang. I'm sorry that I didn't recognize you. Vice Sect leader Lei had a change in his expression. He cupped his fist at Wang Xian and spoke politely. It's fate. Wang Xian smiled. I did not expect Elder Fang to take in my sister as her disciple all of a sudden. You should know that Xiao Yu has the inborn constitution, Vice Sect leader Lei said hesitantly. Of course, I know. I thought she could begin her cultivation at a later stage. But since she's happy about it, I'll just let her be. Wang Xian nodded his head. Besides, I also learned about Thistles and Thorns sect. You have some good reviews. Vice Sect leader Lei and the rest of the elders felt uncomfortable about what Wang Xian had said. Obviously, Wang Xian had checked on the Thistles and Thorns sect. However, they got over it very soon. After all, his sister had joined a sect out of the blue. As her brother, it was natural for him to find out more. If they thought further, having Xiao Yu with such a powerful brother would be extremely beneficial to the Thistles and Thorns sect. Chapter 150, Saintus, 3. In the future, not only did Thistles and Thorns sect have a disciple with inborn constitution, but it had also gained the friendship of a powerful miracle doctor. At the thought of this, Vice Sect leader Lei exchanged glances with the elder group. It was clear that they couldn't hide their excitement. For the Thistles and Thorns sect, today was their lucky day. Just as Vice Sect leader Lei had shouted previously, the heavens were blessing the Thistles and Thorns sect. Does Miracle Dr. Wang have any opinion on the master of Xiao Yu? Our intention will be to let our sect leader guide Xiao Yu personally. After all, our sect leader is a half-step to inborn expert. Vice sect leader Lei lowered his stance as he asked Wang Xian once again. Let's stick with Elder Fang. When Xiao Yu enters the ancient martial arts circle, I will also help her out in cultivation, Wang Xian replied. All right. In that case, let's go with what Miracle Dr. Wang suggested. Vice sect leader Lei nodded his head. Xiao Yu smiled, looked at her master and said, Master, I think that's better too. It's you who brought me here while my brother has been hiding these things from me, Xiao Yu added, and it was clear that she was still upset with Wang Xian. This made Wang Xian smile bitterly. I was thinking of letting you enjoy your university life. TSK. Xiao Yu rolled her eyes at him before breaking into laughter. Elder Fang was a little moved. Her previous disciple only had high-class talents but was easily tempted and poached by other people. Now that her current disciple had inborn constitution, she wouldn't agree to letting the sect leader be her master, and chose her instead. She was glad to have a disciple like her. Different from Elder Fang, the surrounding elders looked extremely displeased. Lei Quan, where's the disciple with inborn constitution? At this moment, an agitated voice pierced the atmosphere. Following which, an old man with a head of white hair rushed over at a horrifying pace. Half-step to inborn couldn't walk in the skies yet. Only by reaching the inborn realm could one levitate in the air for short periods. Sect leader. The elder group and disciples immediately bowed. Vice sect leader Lei immediately walked to the old man and repeated the sequence of events. Great, great. The sect leader of Thistles and Thorns sect was thrilled as he looked at Xiao Yu. After which, he turned to Wang Xian and greeted Wang Xian with his right fist clasped in his left palm. Miracle Dr. Wang, I have long heard of you. Sect leader Tang, greetings. Wang Xian exchanged customary words. Miracle Dr. Wang, are you really letting Xiao Yu join our Thistles and Thorns sect? With Xiao Yu's gift and your ability, it would be easy for you to get her into a sacred sect. Sect leader Tang asked Wang Xian calmly. Since fate brought us here, let's just go with it. It doesn't matter if it is a first-class sect or sacred sect, Wang Xian replied nonchalantly. In that case, Xiao Yu will be a member of the Thistles and Thorns sect from here onwards. Haha. Since Xiao Yu still insisted to let Elder Fang be her master, I'm fine with it. I could find time to guide her in her training in the future too. Sect leader Tang laughed loudly. His face was rosy and he was also very agitated. He hesitated for a moment before making the decision. Members of Thistles and Thorns sect, listen, here. All the disciples, including the elders and vice sect leader Lei, all bowed down. Those juveniles who had not joined Thistles and Thorns sect also followed and lowered their bodies. From today onwards, our Thistles and Thorns sect will have a saintess position. Xiao Yu will be the saintess of the Thistles and Thorns sect. Her status will be equal to vice sect leader Lei. No one is allowed to go against the words of the saintess. Otherwise, he would be punished according to our sect rules. When the saintess reaches the inborn realm and leads our Thistles and Thorns sect forward, she will take over the role as the sect leader. Sect leader Tang announced to the crowd. Everyone was shocked but no one objected. One who had the inborn constitution could easily reach the inborn realm with cultivation. On that day, she would be able to lead Thistles and Thorns sect to join the ranks of first-class sects. Even if she was made the saintess, no one would object to it. Upon hearing the announcement of the sect leader, Xiao Yu was stunned and shocked. Wang Xian stood aside and smiled. Even with Xiao Yu's constitution, he was a little surprised that Xiao Yu was designated as the saintess and the future successor of the sect leader. The only question would be if Xiao Yu was willing to take up the role of the sect leader. However, it would be fine even if she wasn't willing. In the worst scenario, Wang Xian could help to raise an inborn expert. Disregarding others, it would be easy for him to create another inborn constitution. Wang Xian was equivalent to a bug-like existence for the ancient martial arts circle. However, it would be difficult for him to raise someone above the realm of inborn. Greetings, saintess. An elder went down on one knee in front of Xiao Yu and greeted with respect. The surrounding elders, excluding Xiao Yu's master, Elder Fang, also went down on one knee. The rest of the disciples of Thistles and Thorns sect had also gone down on one knee as they greeted the saintess. Prostration was only done when Xiao Yu assumed the role. Under normal circumstances, even ordinary disciples wouldn't have to execute such prostration. After all, modern-era thinking was also affecting the ancient martial arts circle. "You guys, get up quickly." Seeing everyone paying such high respect to her, Xiao Yu blushed and spoke quickly. Below the stage, Zi Yang'er was shivering slightly and her eyes were filled with fear. She lifted her head and saw the girl she'd been mocking a while ago. She couldn't help but regret her action. "Will she expel me? Or?" Zi Yang'er was filled with horror and fear and did not move an inch while kneeling down. When everyone got up, she didn't even notice. Where the Song family was, Song Awen also lowered his head. He recalled his arrogant remark previously that this girl was pretty. If he dared to say this at this moment, disregarding others, his grandfather would kill him. "You're just a piece of trash. She's way out of your league." All newly enrolled disciples gather in front. Vice sect leader Lei nodded his head in approval and said to the group of juveniles in front of him. The group of juveniles immediately rushed forward and stood upright. Vice sect leader Lei looked across and his attention eventually landed on Zi Yang'er. Seeing vice sect leader Lei staring at her, Zi Yang'er's expression turned as white as a sheet. "Are you Zi Yang'er? Your talents are still commendable. From here on out, you shall follow behind the saintess and are in charge of her living need," Vice sect leader Lei announced. "She's so lucky to be able to stay close to the future inborn expert. She could follow the saintess around. What a lucky girl." The juveniles looked at Zi Yang'er with envy. Upon hearing the words of vice sect leader Lei, Zi Yang'er's expression turned even paler. Her legs went wobbly and she almost fell to the ground. With a little crying tone, she answered, "Yes, When vice sect leader Lei saw her, he thought she was just a little agitated and wasn't too concerned. Xiao Yu looked at that girl and revealed a smile. However, she wasn't intending to be calculative with her. Chapter 151, Home. "Brother, if sect leader Tang wants me to inherit the Thistles and Thorns sect as the sect leader after 4 or 5 years, do you think I should do it?" "Do whatever you like. Just letting your vice sect leader handle the sect's affairs will do." "Didn't sect leader Tang do that to vice sect leader Lei? Since vice sect leader Lei and sect leader Tang will assist you, you shouldn't have much to worry about." "But I'll be just 23 or 24 then. Am I not too young? I'm afraid they will not listen to me." In the ancient martial arts world, people respect those who are highly skilled. Since you possess strength at such a young age, people will be respectful to you. But, if you don't want to be the sect leader, you can just say no. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu laughed as they walked towards the car park area near the Thistles and Thorns sect. They walked as they exchanged conversation after midnight. On hearing the last answer from her brother, Xiao Yu was displeased and she pouted. "But I want to become the sect leader. I want to uphold the righteous and help the weak, leading the Thistles and Thorns sect to become the strongest sect. Then, I'll be the renowned Xiao Yu, a female god of war and warrior of the ancient martial art world." Hee. As she spoke, she seemed to be imagining herself to be the next sect leader, leading the Thistles and Thorns sect and becoming a female god of war. Wang Xian chuckled. "Well, if you want to be a female god of war, you must work hard. If you want to cultivate, I have ways to speed up your process in attaining inborn realm." "Really, brother?" Xiao Yu asked, brightening up her eyes. "Yes, within half a year. Half a year is good enough for you to attain the inborn realm." Wang Xian smiled as he spoke to Xiao Yu. For Dragonians, Wang Xian could help them to attain the inborn realm within 100 days even if they were average people. But Xiao Yu did not have the divine dragon bloodline. For her to achieve the inborn realm, half a year would be good enough. "Half a year." Xiao Yu parted her lips slightly. Then she nodded her head with a resolute look on her face. Wang Xian beamed as he looked at the motivated Xiao Yu. "Let's go home the day after tomorrow," said Wang Xian to Xiao Yu. "Okay," Sister Li's wedding is on October 3rd. Uncle Zhong is having a wedding banquet, Xiao Yu said with a smile. After they sat in the car, the middle-aged driver started the engine and drove them home. We're fortunate this time. With the rise of the Thistles and Thorns sect, it will be more advantageous to us. That girl is quite a daunting talent. A saintess. You must respect her when you see that girl in the future. Yes, father. Thanks to her, you can get into the Thistles and Thorns sect this time. Practice hard on your cultivation. Saintess's brother is somebody. He could even talk to sect leader Tang, a half-step to inborn expert, on an equal status. You must find a way to befriend the saintess. She's the future sect leader of the Thistles and Thorns sect. When the saintess and her brother went into the car, those middle-aged and old men reminded their children since they were following behind Wang Xian and Xiao Yu from about 10 meters away. The Song family was among them too. They cast their respectful and fearful gazes on the young man and girl who went into the car. Your grandfather wants us to please the saintess since she will be the leader of Thistles and Thorns sect in the future. Also, it would be best if we could curry favor with her brother too. An old man looked around the family members and spoke slowly. The saintess's brother, Miracle Dr. Wang? Song Awen frowned. That young man was only older than him by a few years. In the beginning, Song Awen had been a genius. But now, a girl appeared and surpassed him immediately. He was already feeling uncomfortable with it. If he was asked to please the saintess, he had nothing to say. But he did not have to please the young man. Your grandfather is in charge of the information department of the Thistles and Thorns sect. According to the information he got, he thinks that the saintess's brother is even more daunting than the saintess. Remember how the rogue cultivators and the rich from Rivertown were acting tonight? Song Awen froze and frowned. Your grandfather suspected that her brother does not only possess formidable medical skills, but also has mighty strength. Of course, all these things were speculation. But whatever we saw was already good enough to give him our respect, the old man continued. Song Awen slightly hesitated before he nodded his head. Grandfather, I know what to do. The old man nodded slowly. When Wang Xian and Xiao Yu reached Xiao Yu, it was almost 1 a.m. The dormitory was locked. So they had to sleep in separate rooms in the hotel. In such a situation, Wang Xian wondered if he should get a house. As soon as the thought was planted, he could not control it from growing. If he had a house near the sea, he would not have to stay in the dormitory anymore. Besides, he rarely went to school nowadays. Staying in the dormitory was inconvenient to him. If he lived near the sea, he could go directly as and when he wanted to. Moreover, it was inconvenient to date Guan Shuqing if he stayed in the dormitory. If he got a house outside, hehehe. Wang Xian burst out with kinky laughter as he thought about it. After all, he was already 20 years old. Sometimes, his underwear got wet during his sleep. Hehe. A seaview house in Rivertown would cost over 10 million. But he could afford to get one now. It was one day before the National Day holiday, and it also marked the last day of the military training. During the last night of military training, the school held an orientation night. The programs were quite good, but Wang Xian and Xiao Yu were not in the mood for it. Xiao Yu had started her cultivation ever since she obtained the art of cultivation. Wang Xian was speechless upon seeing her overdone way of cultivating. On the first day of the holiday, Xiao Yu drove Guan Shuqing home before they headed back to their home. Their hometown was next to Lake Xianfeng at Feng Lake County, in Pengju City. The county was small with lovely scenery. When the pink Bentley drove into the county, it drew a lot of surprise from many people. Such a luxury car almost did not exist in the county. The car drove to the northern part of the county near Lake Xianfeng, which was surrounded by paddy fields. About 70 to 80 residents were residing on one stretch of the paddy fields. As it was far away from the city center, this area was also much of the countryside. The road was smooth with poplar trees planted by the residents on both sides. Each poplar tree was more than 10 meters in height. During summer, those aunties and uncles who had nothing to do loved to gather under the shade for mahjong or chit-chatting sessions. Looking around at the surroundings, Wang Xian felt a sense of belonging. What a beautiful car! When the pink Bentley was driving down the road, the surrounding people under the shade were staring at it with shock. This be logo. Is that a Bentley? Oh right, I heard their cars cost a few million each. Wow, a few million? We can buy a few houses in the city center of this county. It's a dead end in front. I wonder who their relatives are. Who has such rich relatives? As everyone looked doubtfully at the car under the shade, the car stopped in front of the single-story house. A young man and a young girl stepped out of the car. Chapter 152, In Return. Hey, that is. Aren't they the siblings, Wang Xian and Wang Yu? Yeah, it's really them. This. How can this be possible? They even had trouble gathering the school fees previously. How can they afford to drive such a good car now? Although these siblings are poor, they are pretty good in studies and have qualified for the first-tier university. Did they engage in illegal dealings? Otherwise, how can they afford such a good car? I believe they borrowed it from others. The people of the current era were no longer as pure and honest. They had a serious mentality comparing with others. Comparing their cars, comparing the results of their kids and comparing the conditions of the family. Wang Xian and Wang Yu's family was the poorest among the 70 to 80 families in this area. When their grandmother was still alive, she couldn't do much because of her old age. They were barely able to make ends meet by doing some farming and receiving aid from their neighbor, Uncle Zhong. When the people tried to educate their kids, they always liked to use Wang Xian and Wang Yu as examples. Look at you. Take a look at Wang Xian and Wang Yu. Their results are so good even though they barely get enough food. What about you? You get to eat well and live in a comfortable environment and yet your results are so bad. Although they were complimenting Wang Xian and Wang Yu for doing well in their studies, they were also commenting on their family background. They were really poor. When Wang Xian heard the exclamations and doubts from his neighbor, he wasn't bothered. Among the surrounding 70 to 80 families, only Uncle Zhong had been kind to them from the bottom of his heart. As for the other families, Wang Xian didn't want to comment. He could still remember the incident when his neighbor, who had a relatively good relationship with them, hired Xiao Yu to give tutoring to their daughter. After giving tutoring for over a month, they only gave Xiao Yu $300. Each session lasted 3 to 4 hours and she was giving their daughter tutoring every day. Yet, they only paid her $300. This left him speechless and helpless at those moments. They knew clearly that Wang Xian's family wasn't doing well and took advantage of them. This made Wang Xian and Xiao Yu disappointed. However, they were both young at that time and didn't speak up about it. Since then, he finally got a clear view of the kind of people they were. Wang Xian took out the key and opened the door. It was a small house and it didn't have many things in it. Other than a simple sofa and a few stools, the left and right rooms were Xiao Yu's and his bedroom respectively. As Xiao Yu had cleaned the place before he went to Rivertown for her studies, the house wasn't very dirty. Take out the presents. Let's go to Uncle Zhong's house, Wang Xian said to Xiao Yu as he walked to the back of the car and took out some gifts. Wang Xian had personally bought these gifts. Uncle Zhong liked to drink tea and therefore Wang Xian bought him some tea leaves. Pure tea leaves from the 1980s. Each catty would cost $120,000 and Wang Xian bought 2 boxes for Uncle Zhong. 5 sticks of premium cigarettes from Huang Helu and Supreme Ruler which cost $18,000 in total. Uncle Zhong didn't drink and therefore Wang Xian did not buy alcohol for him. He also bought Aunt Zhong some cosmetics and accessories which cost a bomb too. As for Sister Li, he bought her a watch that cost over $100,000. Let's go. Wang Xian carried the gifts and said to Xiao Yu. All right, brother. The two of them headed out of their house. However, when they reached the door, they saw 3 housewives, a middle-aged man and an old man walking towards their house. Hey! Xiao Xian, Xiao Yu? Did you guys strike the lottery? The crowd at the door looked over inquisitively. They noticed the gifts in Wang Xian's hands and asked their question curiously. We did make some money. Seeing that they were their neighbors and seniors, Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. Where are you guys going? Seeing Wang Xian carrying the gifts, the middle-aged man smiled and asked. We are going to Uncle Zhong's house. We got him some gifts. Wang Xian said plainly before continuing. We'll be going over now. Hey, what are you carrying? Huang Helu? Supreme Ruler? Puert? That middle-aged man was surprised by the gifts in Wang Xian's hands. Just some small tokens, Wang Xian said plainly before heading to a nearby house with Xiao Yu. What's Huang Helu? What's Supreme Ruler? The housewives standing by the side asked the middle-aged man inquisitively. Cigarettes. The middle-aged man's eyes were still fixed on Wang Xian's gifts. His eyes were full of shock. How valuable could cigarettes be? The group of housewives sneered. One stick costs approximately $1,800. He had 10 sticks with him, and so those are close to $20,000. The middle-aged man lit a cigarette from the cigarette pack that cost $10 as he spoke. $1,800 for a stick. So expensive. Oh my gosh. Can it be that the Wang siblings have really gotten rich? Let's go take a look. The crowd followed behind curiously as they headed towards Uncle Zhong's house. When Wang Xian and Xiao Yu arrived at the doorstep, a Land Rover, which cost approximately $2 to $3 million, drove out from Uncle Zhong's house. Wang Xian was taken aback. Through the car window, he could see that it was a young man who was driving the car. Uncle Zhong and his family did not send him off, and this made Wang Xian a little suspicious. Have the wedding matters been settled? Who knows? Xiao Li is marrying into a rich family, but this might not be a good thing after all. That's true. I heard that she's getting married only because she is pregnant. Hee. Yeah. I heard rumors that the groom's family wasn't agreeable to this wedding. Comments from the housewives sounded from behind Wang Xian and Xiao Yu. Wang Xian frowned. After seeing that the Land Rover had driven off, he walked through the main door. Once he was in the yard, he could see Uncle Zhong and his family sitting in the living room. Uncle Zhong was smoking and was clearly not looking pleased. Uncle Zhong! Wang Xian shouted. Uncle Zhong was taken aback. When he saw Wang Xian and Xiao Yu, he immediately extinguished the cigarette in his hand and revealed a smile. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu, you guys are finally on break. Uncle Zhong had taken great care of Wang Xian, and this might be because he did not have a son. Yeah, we got back once the school break started. We bought you some gifts too. Wang Xian replied and walked towards the house. Why did you even bring gifts over? Are you rich now? Take them away, take them away. Seeing Wang Xian carrying bags of gifts with him, he reprimanded Wang Xian fiercely. Hehe, I really am a little rich now. Wang Xian chuckled as he walked in and placed the gifts on the table. He had been to Uncle Zhong's house for meals frequently. Therefore, both Wang Xian and Xiao Yu were familiar with the place. Why did you go to the expense of buying gifts? Just make sure you guys can take care of yourself. Aunt Zhong stood up and grumbled. Take them away, take them away. Wang Xian felt warmth from their actions. He smiled and replied, we have already bought them and can't get a refund on these. You kids. Old Zhong, take a look at what Xiao Xian got for you. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yu came in a luxury car just a while ago. That car is worth at least several million. Behind them, the neighbor who followed Wang Xian toward Uncle Zhong's family commented curiously. Luxury car. Uncle Zhong was stunned. He then looked at the gifts in the bags. 10 sticks of cigarettes. These were the kind that he had never smoked before. In addition, there were 2 boxes of tea leaves which were his favorites. Huang Helu, Supreme Leader, and 8582 brand Puer tea leaves. Sister Li, who had been standing by the table, suddenly revealed a surprised look after taking a look at the gifts. I heard that Huang Helu and Supreme Ruler both cost $1,800 a stick. My box of cigarettes only cost me slightly over $100. A single stick is enough for me to get 10 boxes of cigarette. A middle-aged man commented with envy. So expensive? Uncle Zhong was shocked. Dad, these cigarettes are cheap in comparison. 8582 Puer tea leaves are the really expensive ones. A box will cost at least a few $100,000, Sister Li commented. What? Chapter 153, The Wedding. All of them stared at the 2 boxes of tea leaves in shock. Zhong Yuanli was taken by surprise too. She'd found herself a rich boyfriend. As such, She understood some of these things. She and her boyfriend had once bought a box of pu'er tea leaves from the 1980s for an elder. However, she never expected this brother would gift 2 boxes of such tea leaves to her father. It cost more than $200,000. It's just some tea leaves. Since Uncle Jong loves to drink tea, I had to buy him some good ones. Looking at his surprised look, Wang Xian chuckled. No amount of money could measure the bonds they shared. Aunt Jong, Sister Li, we bought you some presents too. Xiao Yu, at the side, beamed as she took out Aunt Zhong's jewelry and Sister Li's watch. This. Zhong Yuanli was taken aback when Xiao Yu passed her the Vacheron Constantine watch and the platinum jewelry to her mother. All these things cost at least $200,000, said Zhong Yuanli in shock as she looked at Xiao Yu and Wang Xian. $200,000? And these things, didn't they cost around $500,000? Uncle Jong was stunned. His expression was slightly different than before. Xiao Xian, did you do something bad? Where on earth did you get the money to buy all these things? I'm telling you, we cannot do anything that breaks the law, said Uncle Jong. The rest of the people around them were staring at Wang Xian with doubts and suspicions. How can a student have the money to buy such expensive gifts? Not to mention, they were from the poor Wang siblings. Uncle Jong, when I was in college, I earned some money by chance with my own restaurant and a hospital in Rivertown. Now, I'm still quite loaded, Wang Xian explained ambiguously. When you go to Rivertown next time, I can bring you guys to check out my restaurant. Restaurant? Hospital? Uncle Jong felt relaxed when he heard what Wang Xian said. That's good. But the things you bought were too expensive. It's okay. Wang Xian shook his head. It's not much. Don't worry, Uncle Jong. I'm rich enough to buy these things. Oh well, you've grown up in the blink of an eye. You became more capable. That's very good. Uncle Jong patted him on the shoulder with consolation. He is rich now. The surrounding neighbors stared at Wang Xian with a surprised look. They were jealous when they saw the gifts that Wang Xian sent to Uncle Jong and his family. Almost $500,000 worth of gifts, yet Wang Xian gave it readily to Uncle Jong, and they might receive more in the future. I didn't expect Xiao Xian to be earning big bucks now. That's incredible. He's a boss at such a young age. I thought so too. Xiao Xian is so clever. He will become somebody in the future. It's happening now. Xiao Xian is awesome at such a young age. He might become a millionaire in the future. Xiao Xian, don't forget us in the future. The surrounding crowd praised Wang Xian with faces full of smiles as they curried favor. Wang Xian smiled and nodded but did not utter a word. Everyone felt embarrassed. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yu, have you had your lunch? It's almost noon. I'll make your lunch now. Aunt Jong stood up at this time as she asked them. Not yet. Thanks, Aunt Jong. Don't stand on ceremony with me. You just arrived, right? Take a seat and chat with Uncle Jong. Uncle Jong opened up the cigarette packaging and distributed a box to each of the neighbors. He spoke with them for a while before they finally left. Xiao Li, brew the tea for your brother and me. Uncle Jong took out the tea leaves happily. Sure, Dad. Xiao Xian, since you're doing well, I feel at ease now. From now on, don't buy these things for me anymore, said Uncle Jong to Wang Xian smilingly. Okay. Wang Xian chuckled and asked with doubts, oh, Uncle. Who drove out just now when I was here? Your future brother-in-law. Uncle Jong was obviously unhappy when he said this. Sigh, let's not talk about this. Xiao Xian, how's school? Uncle Jong changed the topic, and Wang Xian did not continue to ask. Instead, he chatted with Uncle Jong about other things. Uncle Jong, since Sister Li is getting married, aren't you busy now? After lunch, Wang Xian saw Uncle Jong sipping his tea relaxingly, and he raised his question. Nothing to be busy about. Since the banquet is managed by the hotel, it's much more manageable than before, Uncle Jong answered. Oh, Uncle Jong. Where's your fishing rod? Let's go fishing if you have nothing going on later. Lake Xianfeng was quite renowned in the entire southern province. The entire lake spanned 30 to 40 kilometers, and the deepest area of the lake was more than 10 meters deep. Uncle Zhong even undertook an area at the Lake Xianfeng to rear fish. Wang Xian had loved to fish since he was young. The fish that he caught mostly turned into food on the table. Fishing. We can't fish anymore. This year, weird things have happened to Lake Xianfeng. Not a single fish could be found in it. Those fish that I reared in the fish pond this year were all gone. It's very odd. All the families which reared fish incurred quite a loss. When Uncle Zhong talked about the fish, he frowned immediately. The fish were gone in all of Lake Xianfeng? Wang Xian's curiosity was piqued. Yes, it was bizarre. This even went on the news, and someone was sent to investigate. But there isn't any conclusion to date. I reared more than 10,000 catties of fish, but now it's all gone. Uncle Zhong shook his head and sighed. Oh. Wang Xian was even more doubtful. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu returned to their home from Uncle Zhong's place after 2 p.m. After they came back home, Xiao Yu smiled and asked Wang Xian, "Brother, do you know who Sister Li is marrying?" "Not sure. Uncle Zhong looks like he didn't want to talk about this, so I didn't ask much. She's marrying someone from River Town. A rich second generation. I heard Sister Li say that his family is rich." "Really? But why did Uncle Zhong seem reluctant about this?" asked Wang Xian curiously. "Brother, Sister Li told me that her future husband has some family issues." "What issues?" Wang Xian looked curiously at Xiao Yu. Sister Li's husband came from a wealthy family. His family disagreed with this marriage in the beginning. But Sister Li's husband loves her so much that they got a baby. That is why they had no choice but to agree. Moreover, Sister Li told me that her husband's parents were going to arrange a joint marriage with an equally wealthy family. Hence, even though they agreed to the marriage, they were not happy at all. Simply said, they are looking down on Sister Li's family. What snobs. This time, Uncle Zhong was angry about the bride's car. Uncle Zhong's original plan was to get the groom to fetch the bride from here since it is only a 2-hour car ride from Rivertown. The atmosphere would be far more lively, and Uncle Zhong and his family would look good. Yet the other party's parents turned this idea down because it was too troublesome. They wanted to ask Sister Li to set off from a hotel in Rivertown. The man was a weakling too. He dared not defy what his father said. What was more infuriating was that Sister Li is getting married, but the guy did not help her at all. He said he was busy with his own family work. Don't you feel angry too? Chapter 154, Venomous Sea Snake. Note: the venomous sea snake within this chapter refers to a type of snake often found in historical Chinese culture that has the ability to evolve into a dragon. Xiao Yu grumbled as she explained to Wang Xian. After learning the causes and effects, Wang Xian also frowned. No matter how one looked at this, the groom's actions weren't right. A wedding should be a joyous event. Since they had decided to get married, they should complete the wedding joyously. Now that it had turned out this way, it was only natural that Uncle Zhong wasn't pleased. Perhaps the groom's family is trying to show they are infuriated by doing so. What an egocentric family. Sister Li's boyfriend isn't helping the situation. He doesn't have a backbone, Xiao Yu grumbled and felt indignance for Sister Li. Wang Xian frowned and commented, "Forget it. It's not appropriate for us to speak on this. Let's just follow Uncle Zhong's decision." Since this was relating to Sister Li's wedding, it wasn't appropriate for Wang Xian to comment on it. "Xiao Xian, Xiao Yu. Are you guys there? Can it be that these kids have gone to bed?" At this moment, a foreign voice sounded from outside their home. The voice seemed to be from a neighbor of theirs. "Sleep," Wang Xian said softly to Xiao Yu before walking towards his room. Xiao Yu also stuck out her tongue playfully as she headed for her room. They had seen the true colors of these people and there wasn't a point to keep in contact with them. When one got rich, others would claim to be your relative even if you stayed deep in the mountains. On the contrary, when one was poor, no one would show concern for you even if you lived in a lively city. That's the way things were. Can it be that these kids aren't at home? Their car is still here. Where else could they go? I guess they have gone to bed. Some people commented at the doorstep. Seeing that they weren't getting a response from within the house, they shook their heads helplessly as they turned back. In this small area with 70 to 80 families, The news of the Wang siblings getting rich had spread within a few hours. They drove a luxury car that cost several million and even gave old Zhong's family gifts that cost $400,000 to $500,000. This made many people jealous. And they had come over to get on the good books of the Wang siblings in hopes of getting some benefits. You guys don't even take a second look at them and weren't willing to help them with the simplest thing in the past. Now, you guys are trying to curry favor from them? These kids aren't silly. Just a short distance away, Uncle Zhong sat at the entrance of his house. He shook his head in contempt as he saw the group of people. Only by treating others with sincerity would you be returned with sincerity. Wang Xian took an hour nap in the afternoon. He took out his phone to play after getting bored. If it wasn't because of Sister Li's wedding, Wang Xian wasn't thinking of returning during the National Day holidays. Other than Uncle Zhong's family, there wasn't anything that he felt sentimental about in this place. After having dinner at Uncle Zhong's place, he returned to his home. Xiao Yu continued with her cultivation enthusiastically. One could easily tell the advancements she was making as she had the inborn constitution. Xiao Yu got a little addicted to the feeling of getting stronger quickly. 8 p.m. The sky had turned dark. In places like the village, there wasn't anyone walking around at 8 p.m. Around the village, faint moonlight shone on the hazy world. I'll go take a look. Xiao Yu was practicing her cultivation. Wang Xian was bored from having nothing to do. Recalling his conversation with Uncle Zhong in the afternoon, he got up and headed out. Lake Xianfeng was just 300 to 400 meters from his house. The lake was so huge that one could not see the end of it. This was a naturally formed lake. The villagers had occupied the area near the shores to rear fish. As for the deeper waters, there was a rule that limited fishing to 5 days a year. During these 5 days, Lake Xianfeng would be extremely lively. Even people from nearby cities might come over for fishing. Although it couldn't be compared to other large-sized lakes in the country, Lake Xianfeng was still rather famous. Wang Xian arrived at the lake and saw the glittering water under the moonlight. He removed his underwear and jumped right into the lake. Based on Uncle Zhong's account, the fish in Lake Xianfeng had mysteriously disappeared. This was definitely not common. Perhaps this is caused by some animals or even ancient martial artist. Let's take a closer look. Wang Xian thought to himself before jumping in and swimming deeper into the lake. As he dived into the lake, he gradually changed into a 5 to 6 meters long 5-colored divine dragon. The water near the edges was shallow. Wang Xian swayed his dragon tail as he swam rapidly towards the center of the lake. His current speed was incredibly fast. In just 5 minutes, he had swum 7 to 8 kilometers. The depth was over 10 meters and the bottom of the lake was just mud. Indeed, there aren't many fish in the surroundings. Wang Xian looked around in shock. Due to restrictions on fishing in Lake Xianfeng, there should be a lot of fish. Whenever the fishing season arrived, the people had been able to catch over 100,000 tons of fish easily. Yet, there were barely any fish left at this moment. Wang Xian observed the surroundings carefully as he moved within the lake. Nope. He covered the surrounding with his dragon power but couldn't sense any abnormality in the surrounding. He looked across and hesitated for a moment before swimming in the east direction. After swimming 4 to 5 kilometers, Wang Xian found that the bottom of the entire lake was abnormally ordinary. However, it was also because it was so ordinary that it was a little creepy. Wang Xian felt like he was in a no-man's land while staying under the water. There wasn't anyone around and the surroundings were serene and cold. Hey, this place. Wang Xian observed his front direction. This place was even more desolate than the center of the lake. There wasn't even any animal in the surroundings. Not even 1 or 2 small fish. And at the bottom of the lake in front of Wang Xian, it was abnormally pitch dark. He swam over and realized that it was a strange species of seagrass. Black seagrass? Wang Xian was surprised and grabbed it with his dragon claw. SSS. Wang Xian felt a corroding sensation on his dragon claw and was instantly shocked. These seagrasses were poisonous. Looking ahead, he noted that the areas covered by the seagrasses weren't small. It spanned approximately 2,000 meters in radius. He swam slowly above the seagrass and looked down at this strange region. That is. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and looked at the middle of the grass. At that place, there were 9 caves. As to how deep these caves were, Wang Xian couldn't sense it. Nonetheless, the entrance of each cave was at least 1 meter in width. What's inside must be what's responsible for the disappearance of all the fish within Lake Xianfeng. Wang Xian swam slowly above the cave entrance as he focused on the cave. Growl. The cave was extremely deep. Based on his senses, it should be over 10 meters deep and he couldn't see what was in there. He let out a light roar that carried the dragon power towards the cave. SSS SSS SSS. At this moment, a sound that resembled a poisonous snake hissing propagated across. There were 9 caves and 9 pairs of black eyes were staring at him. Their black tongues had the shape of a triangle. This was a species of snake. What really surprised Wang Xian was that where their heads were, there were bulging buns. The 9 snakes only revealed their heads and stared coldly at Wang Xian. These are. Seeing the snakes that extended from 9 caves, a thought came to his mind. Venomous sea snake, level 10. Extractable dragon energy, 235,432. Possess wind divine dragon's bloodline. Venomous sea snake. An animal that possesses the bloodline of the divine dragon. Wang Xian looked at the 9 venomous sea snakes in shock. Extractable dragon energy from them was even higher than roving heavens. They must be horrifyingly strong. Suddenly, he recalled the animal in ancient Chinese culture. A venomous sea snake evolved into a serpent in 500 years. A serpent evolved into a dragon in 1,000 years. A dragon evolved into a horned dragon in 500 years and into a winged dragon in 1,000 years. Winged dragons had wings and were commonly known as the wind dragon. This animal was an existence that had the bloodline of the divine dragon. Looking at their bulging heads, they must be evolving into serpents soon. Chapter 155, 9 Dragons Royal Carriage, 1. Hiss. Just when Wang Xian was staring at the venomous sea snakes, they stuck out their tongues slowly and wriggled out from the caves. With cold and sharp eyes, they glared at him as they squeezed their bodies together. These venomous sea snakes are thinking of devouring me. As Wang Xian sensed the look from the venomous sea snakes, he slowly retreated. 9 level 10 venomous sea snakes were something of a threat to him. Especially when these snakes were much stronger than roving heavens. Wang Xian could suppress roving heavens, but he had to be careful when facing these venomous sea snakes. The venomous sea snakes wanted to devour him as a lower-level divine dragon. If they could devour him, they could turn into dragons immediately, gobble him up. Just as Wang Xian's thoughts were running, the venomous sea snake at the center threw its coiled body at him at a fast speed. The intelligent snakes decided to join forces and attack him. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He swiped his tail gently, creating a muddy swamp area with streams of water currents. But to his surprise, the 9 venomous sea snakes were moving as fast as him. After all, they have the bloodline of Wind Divine Dragon. Even Thunder Dragon could not compare its speed with them. Wang Xian showed a stern look on his face. Seeing the incoming attack from the 9 venomous sea snakes, he swept his tail across. All the snakes were about 5 meters long, and their bodies were thicker than a human thigh. But they were smaller than Wang Xian. Bam! The mighty divine dragon power swept 3 venomous sea snakes more than 10 meters away. But the 4th venomous sea snake opened its bloody mouth and bit onto Wang Xian's tail with its black teeth. The immediate numbness stiffened up Wang Xian's body. At the same time, the other 5 venomous sea snakes widened their lips just to chew at his body. Hiss. Wang Xian felt the immense pain as he sensed the poisonous teeth sinking into his body. This is bad. Their intelligence is too high to have a perfect joint attack. Wang Xian had a slight expression change. The 9 venomous sea snakes seemed to know what each other was thinking such that they could achieve a perfect attack. Drops of fresh blood were absorbed by 5 poisonous snakes. If they did not bite on the body part which had the most robust defense, his injuries might be more serious. Get lost! Wang Xian exclaimed, and the 5 colors on his body were flashing violently. Finally, his body turned green. Green, the wood attributes of the divine dragon with anti-poison effect. Raw. Wang Xian widened his mouth and spurted a gust of green gas from it. SSS. The intense wood attributes gave off a sizzling sound when they hit the venomous sea snakes. Hiss. The 6 venomous sea snakes were in pain as they quickly loosened their bite and retreated. Wang Xian jerked, releasing the green gas from his body, and his injuries were slowly recovering. Hiss. The 9 venomous sea snakes stared at Wang Xian ferociously as they surrounded him once again. Wang Xian stared back at them with icy cold eyes. He swayed his green body and cast a glance at the black seaweed in the surrounding area. Raw. This time, Wang Xian decided to strike before them. The green wood attributes spread out to the surroundings. Whoosh. Just then, the seaweed around them began to grow exponentially. Thousands of seaweeds twisted and slid towards the 9 venomous sea snakes. Hiss. The venomous sea snakes swished and swam rapidly towards Wang Xian for an attack again. Ignorant. Wang Xian exuded a rich and immense green gas, causing the surrounding water plants to grow frantically. It was as though the wood release from the first Hokage in the Naruto manga series. Even though he had yet to master the ability to trap his opponent with massive wood, he could control the seaweed growing frantically within more than 10 meters. Hiss. The 9 venomous sea snakes swirled their bodies as they avoided the seaweed. But the amount was too substantial such that they could not move. You can't stop us, die. A venomous sea snake stuck out its tongue as it quickly struggled out from the seaweed. I'm still too weak. The seaweed cannot hold them for long. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He got an idea. You are asking for your own death. As Wang Xian waved his dragon claws in the water, all the seaweed around him gathered and entwined together, trapping 9 venomous sea snakes in a semicircle. Bam! A snake tried to bash its way through a small hole. They were, in fact, just poisonous snakes without any claws. As such, they would need at least 10 seconds to break out from the trap. Now, Wang Xian took a deep breath. This move determined success. If he failed, he'd need to be stronger before he came back here again. The radiance on his body flashed again before he turned into a blue marine dragon. Suck. He opened his mouth and sucked up all the lake water in the area surrounded by the seaweed. A vacuum area was created at the bottom of the lake. The venomous sea snakes were petrified as they quickly struggled out of the seaweed. Go to hell. With an icy cold look, he could only barbecue this bunch of ignorant fellows. The colors on his body switched again. The Inferno dragon was exuding blazing hot flames. As the lake water seethed, he opened his mouth and spat out a dragon ball. The dragon ball charged and attacked the area surrounded by the seaweed. Cremation. Flames of more than 10 meters were fired off and landed on the black seaweeds. Boom. As all the lake water was already sucked up by Wang Xian, the entire area was burning in the fire as soon as the flame landed on the seaweed. The bottom of the lake was on fire. From the top, the entire lake looked like a red, fiery volcano ready to erupt. It was horrifying. Woohoo! Wang Xian returned to the azure dragon form as he panted slightly. After releasing a few of the high-consumption attacks in one go, it was tedious for him too. In azure dragon form, he could quickly rejuvenate himself. The flame burned, seething the lake water. The entire bottom of the lake formed a fascinating picture. Hiss. Wang Xian stared coldly as he heard the dreadful cries from the venomous sea snakes in the sea. The flame slowly reduced under the control of the Dragon Ball. Shoo. At this time, the Dragon Ball flew back into Wang Xian's mouth as he devoured it. The fire disappeared. All the seaweed within 100 meters was turned into ashes. The 9 venomous sea snakes were bound in the middle with their heads leaning against each other. A burning smell came from their bodies as they were covered by a thick layer of blood. What a pathetic scene. However, they did not die. They leaned against each other and resisted the fearsome fire attack of the Dragon Ball. Even so, they were seriously injured, hugging themselves together lifelessly. The harshness in their eyes had completely disappeared. Wang Xian was shocked by what he saw. The assault that he had performed was equivalent to 3 level 6 divine dragons striking out together. Yet, they were only seriously wounded. In that case, his eyes glinted and he said 3 words slowly. Surrender or Die. Chapter 156, 9 Dragons Royal Carriage. Surrender or Die. Wang Xian swayed his body and covered it with his dragon might while looking coldly at the 9 venomous sea snakes. The 9 venomous sea snakes gathered together and looked at Wang Xian in horror. As they had the bloodline of the divine dragon, Wang Xian had an innate advantage against them. However, Wang Xian's level was too low and he was too weak. Therefore, the 9 venomous sea snakes had wanted to devour Wang Xian initially. After suffering grave injuries and in the face of a real dragon, they were shivering in fear. Surrender or die. Wang Xian lifted his dragon claws and repeated himself. We surrender. Under Wang Xian's might, the venomous sea snakes lowered their heads and replied. Absorb these. Wang Xian threw out drops of divine dragon blood essence onto the heads of the 9 venomous sea snakes. The eyes of the 9 venomous sea snakes lit up when they saw the blood essence. However, they were also hesitating. Looking at the mighty Wang Xian, they chose to absorb the essence blood eventually. Wang Xian revealed a satisfied smile. These 9 venomous sea snakes had the bloodline of the wind divine dragon and could be considered as rare existences. Only the venomous sea snakes had the bloodline of the wind divine dragon and had preserved their evolution path. Their bloodlines were extremely pure. However, it wouldn't be easy for them to eventually evolve into the wind divine dragon. To evolve into a dragon, they required thousands of years of cultivation. If they did not have any great chance encounters, it would be hard for them to become wind divine dragons. However, the paths of these 9 venomous sea snakes would undoubtedly be smoother after Wang Xian imparted them the cultivation arts of the wind divine dragon. As long as they cultivated diligently, there would be a day where they made the leap through the dragon gate and evolved into a divine dragon. Looking at the looks of these 9 venomous sea snakes, they should be able to evolve into serpents soon. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he stared at these 9 venomous sea snakes. From the first time he saw them, he had an idea in mind. 9 Dragons Royal Carriage. That's right. It would be to take the 9 Dragons Royal Carriage as he went on a supervision trip around the world. The thought of 9 divine dragons. No. Even if it was just 9 serpents flying in the air pulling the throne, that would be an awe-inspiring moment. Wang Xian's eyes were burning with passion as he stared at these 9 venomous sea snakes. As he waved his dragon claws, dense wood attribute energy entered their bodies, treating their wounds. Thank you, Dragon King. The injuries on the 9 venomous sea snakes recovered gradually. They remained at the bottom of the lake and bowed down respectfully. All right, rest well over the next few days. I'll be bringing you to the seas after that. Wang Xian looked at them. Yes, Dragon King. The 9 venomous sea snakes nodded their heads. Cultivate diligently. Wang Xian took another glance at them before swimming back into the lake. Wang Xian was exceptionally satisfied to be able to subdue these 9 subordinates from Lake Xianfeng for this trip. These 9 venomous sea snakes were even more important than a group of devil monkeys. Within the entire group of devil monkeys, only roving heavens could possibly match the 9 venomous sea snakes. The rest of them wouldn't be a match. Splash. Flying out from the lake, Wang Xian put on his underwear before getting into his room quickly. I've got to get some clothing equipment in the future. Otherwise, it will be too troublesome to remove my clothes when turning into a dragon. It would be best if I could get celestial equipment that could freely change its size, Wang Xian thought to himself. Seeing that it was 11 p.m., he went to bed without thinking further. Brother, time to get up. The next day morning, Xiao Yu tried to wake Wang Xian up early in the morning. Brother, let's go. Sister Li is holding a wedding banquet in a hotel in the city. A hotel in the city? Are we going that far? Can't they do it within the county? Wang Xian changed into his clothes quickly while looking at Xiao Yu with doubtful eyes. This is a decision by Sister Li's husband. He said that it will look grandiose if it is done in the city and he wanted to marry Sister Li in a grand way. Uncle Zhong has the same view too. They have given a dowry of $580,000 and it should be enough, Xiao Yu explained. All right then. Let's head to Uncle Zhong's house. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu went over to Uncle Zhong's house. There were quite a few people in the yard when they arrived. They were all people who were managing different aspects of the county. For example, someone who held a role similar to the village chief, and there was also someone responsible for collecting and managing their common funds. "Hey, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yu, you guys are here." When the crowd saw them, they quickly greeted. Wang Xian smiled and returned the greetings. He looked to Uncle Zhong and asked, "Uncle Zhong, is there anything I can help with?" "Nothing, nothing. Oh right, I heard that you got a car. Can you send Sister Li and Aunt Zhong to the hotel in a while? I'll inform the hotel about it." Uncle Zhong was going to be busy. "All right." Wang Xian nodded his head. 9 a.m. Sister Li and Aunt Zhong followed Wang Xian and Xiao Yu to the yard. When she saw the pink Bentley, she was filled with shock. "Xiao Yu, this Bentley cost at least $4 million, right?" "Yeah, my brother got it for me. However, they didn't charge my brother for it." Xiao Yu chuckled. "No charge?" Sister Li was confused. $4 million. Oh my gosh. Aunt Zhong looked at the car in disbelief. Xiao Yu opened the door and ushered the group in. Aunt Zhong looked at the internal decorations of the car inquisitively. "Sister Li, which hotel are we going to? Let me get the GPS set up." "Sanwen International Hotel." "All right." Wang Xian sat beside the driver and the car drove out slowly. The crowd that was gathered at the doorstep of Uncle Zhong's house was shocked by what they had seen. No one had expected the Wang siblings to be doing so well. The journey lasted 30 minutes and the car arrived at the city center. Sanwen International Hotel was a good hotel. Pengju was just a small county and didn't have a 5-star hotel. The car stopped by the side. Aunt Zhong and Sister Li alighted and headed into the hotel. "Why don't you follow Sister Li and Aunt Zhong? I'll go get some money," Wang Xian said to Xiao Yu. "All right, brother." It was Sister Li's wedding and Wang Xian naturally wanted to give some monetary gift. He withdrew $660,000 as it was an auspicious number. When he got back to the hotel, Aunt Zhong and Sister Li had settled the matters in the hotel. The hotel was big and could accommodate more than one wedding. Another family was hosting a wedding besides Sister Li today. The entrance to the other wedding was decorated in a grand manner. As for Sister Li's side, they didn't put up much decoration as they were simply inviting relatives and friends over for a meal and weren't having any other ceremony. When Wang Xian arrived at a temporary room in the hotel lobby, he saw Sister Li had changed into her wedding costume. "Xiao Li, give Xiao Wei a call again. Ask him if he's coming," Aunt Zhong told Sister Li grumpily. "All right, Mom." Sister Li nodded her head, took out a phone and dialed a number. "Tell me. He isn't even going to show up at the wedding. How am I going to face our relatives and friends in the future?" Aunt Zhong grumbled. "It isn't that our daughter has to marry into a rich family. It's all because of their child's action." "Aunt Zhong, calm down. A wedding should be a joyous event. When Sister Li heads to Rivertown, my brother and I will accompany Sister Li." Chapter 157, The Monetary Gift. "Mum, Xiao Wei couldn't make it as he is being held up at home," said Sister Li as she walked very quickly towards her mum. She held on to her mobile phone, and was not looking very good. "Just what is going on? Your dad has already told him yesterday that we will have the wedding in Rivertown and we don't even need the wedding car. We are having the ceremony right here and now, shouldn't he just show up, at the very least?" Aunt Zhong stood up with an awkward look and said, "Our relatives will be here any moment. Are we going to tell them that the groom is busy and couldn't make it? Who would buy this story?" "Mum, Xiao Wei wished to be here as well, it's just that." "I understand, it's his parents. Sigh, let's forget it." Holding on to her frustration, Aunt Zhong raised her palms and did not utter a single word. Sister Li sat at the side, looking displeased as her eyes turned red. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu witnessed the whole incident and frowned. This brother-in-law was just too much. "Xiao Li, please welcome the guests in at the front door. Xiao Yu, you shall help her out as well." About half an hour later, Uncle Zhong walked in, and he knew what had happened. Looking displeased he said, "Let's manage what's here and not be bothered by the rest." "Yes, Uncle Zhong." Xiao Yu stood up and nodded. "I will help to welcome our guests in as well," Wang Xian said happily as he stood up. "All right, We're counting on you kids. Uncle Jong thought as he nodded that his son-in-law did not live up to his expectations. Fortunately, he was proud to show that he had a promising nephew. Everyone here had a huge sense of pride. That included Uncle Jong. Wang Xian, Xiao Yu, and Sister Li arrived at the hall of the hotel. At the entrance, another family was also holding a wedding ceremony, right beside theirs. Both the bride and groom welcomed their guests as they stood by the reception. Judging from their guests' identities, they could tell that the families lived in Pengju and life could not be better. Uncle and aunt-in-law, this way please, Sister Li said with a smile as she saw her own uncle, second brother in her dad's family, and his wife. Oh my, you look gorgeous today, where's your boyfriend? Show him to your aunt-in-law, the lady said as she walked into the front door. My boyfriend has yet to arrive as he is caught in a jam on the highway, Sister Li expressed with some embarrassment. Oh, he should have come a day in advance. Anyway, I know you'll be busy down here so I shall make my way in. Sister Li nodded, looking awkward. It was truly an embarrassment that her own husband was not present on their wedding day. At this moment, another group of relatives had arrived. Sister Li welcomed them with a big smile. Aunt Zhong also came to welcome each and every guest. Xiao Yu also went up to welcome them with Wang Xian, who brought a smile. Oh my, you are really beautiful today. Our Xiao Li shall be enjoying her new life with her new wealthy family, but you still have to visit your own family more often in the future. Xiao Yu, I heard that you and your brother have won a fortune, is that true? Congratulations, and don't forget about your neighbors. Xiao Yu showed some awkwardness as the group of adoring relatives and neighbors pulled her aside and bombarded her with questions. Oh yes, Xiao Li, where's your future husband? I don't see him anywhere. He has yet to arrive as he's caught in the traffic jam. Xiao Li tried to explain boldly as she gave the look of embarrassment. Some nodded, while some had their doubts but did not question. The groom of the other wedding looked at them with a frown and said, "They are so rowdy. Must be some villagers, such an annoyance. We shall have someone remind them to keep their volume down when our guests have arrived," the bride replied with displeasure as well. The groom nodded his head. Wang Xian stood at a corner, watching people starting to present their monetary gifts, many of them in the form of cash, and he walked out of the hotel after notifying Xiao Yu. He had left the money that he had withdrawn in his car. As he walked out of the hotel, he saw a group of more than 30 neighbors alighting from a bus. The bus was rented by Uncle Zhong to pick up the neighbors. Hey Xiao Xian, where are you going? A neighbor asked with a smile. I need to grab something, Wang Xian replied in their direction. Our Xiao Xian has just won a fortune, shouldn't you be treating your neighbors to a drink? Asked a middle-aged man. We need to leave tomorrow, perhaps another time, he replied. I need to grab something, please excuse me. This fellow is so full of himself. That middle-aged man looked displeased as he felt that Wang Xian was treating them with a perfunctory attitude. I could not agree more. We went to his house yesterday. Clearly, he was at home, but he didn't answer the door even when I shouted for him a couple of times. This fellow thinks that he is capable enough to be ignorant, he's definitely full of himself. I agree, he is so insensible that he doesn't give that respect to his elders. The elder relatives whispered with criticism as they saw him walking away. They were given the cold shoulder when they just wished to give that pleasant approach. Naturally, it sparked unhappiness. All right, let's get going, he might not even come back to us anymore, said a highly respected elder, as he led the group into the hotel. Unknown to them, all that was spoken had been heard by Wang Xian. Why should I give you all those benefits? I am well aware of those who treated me well. The rest is not my business. Wang Xian felt disappointed, but he did not argue with them. As he arrived at the hotel's parking lot, he took out the $660,000 in cash from his car. He knew that Uncle Zhong was holding on to that pride, so he had to uphold that pride for him. He took the money and made his way back to the hotel. Oh, Xiao Li, why isn't your husband here? I hope he's not looking down on us. That's right, Xiao Li. That is so insensible of him for not showing up. If he's not going to show up for the wedding, I wonder what's going to happen for the rest of your life. Sometimes, one may not be blessed with happiness even after being married to a wealthy family. Wang Xian heard all those comments made by the people surrounding her as he walked into the hotel. Wang Xian knew those ladies who were talking had some conflicts with Uncle Zhong in the past. These people, seriously. Wang Xian shook his head and frowned as he watched the embarrassed looks on Uncle Zhong and Aunt Zhong. Please excuse me, Uncle, I would like to present my monetary gift. Wang Xian spoke as he walked towards the crowd. Oh, Xiao Xian has come to present his monetary gift, over here. The middle-aged man made a path for him. Wang Xian thanked him and made his way to the reception. How much are you presenting, Xiao Xian? Asked another middle-aged man who was accounting for the gifts. $660,000. Wang Xian put the pouch on the table as he replied, and took the stack of cash out. What? $660,000. Chapter 158, Strength, 1. The middle-aged man taking records couldn't hold back his exclamation, and this drew the attention of the crowd. Those who were chatting and those who were waiting to give their monetary gifts turned their heads over immediately. Xiao Xian, are you sure you would like to give all this as a monetary gift? The middle-aged man doing recording stood up and asked in disbelief. $660,000. Oh my gosh. The kid from the Wang family is giving $660,000 as a monetary gift. $660,000 as a monetary gift. He must be filthy rich. I heard that Wang Xian just gave old Zhong's family gifts that cost $400,000 to $500,000 yesterday. Today, he gave $660,000 as a monetary gift. That would be over $1 million in total. Oh my gosh. The Wang sibling is filthy rich. Old Zhong took great care of the Wang siblings and their grandmother in the past. Now that the Wang siblings have gotten rich, it's time that they start returning the kindness. Isn't this a little too extravagant? Giving out $1 million in just a few days. $660,000 as a monetary gift. That's enough to get a house in the county. The neighbors looked over and their faces were filled with shock and envy. Monetary gifts in the hundreds would be sufficient. Those who were closer might give a few thousand. However, Wang Xian gave $660,000 as a monetary gift. He must be really rich. When Uncle Zhong saw the thick stack of monetary gifts, he was taken aback slightly. He stood up and walked over immediately. Xiao Xian, take it back. I can't accept these. You have already spent over $500,000 on gifts. Take it back. Save it for the time when you get a wife. It's fine, Uncle Zhong. It's just a small token. It's only natural for me to give some gifts for Sister Li's wedding. Just keep it and spend as you wish. I'm not lacking this money either. Wang Xian smiled and replied to Uncle Zhong. Even if you aren't lacking these, you shouldn't be giving so much. Take it back, son. It's really fine. When Uncle Zhong is free, come to Rivertown and I'll bring you around. Wang Xian waved his hand. This, Uncle Zhong was hesitating. He also knew that Wang Xian was really rich now and his sister was driving a luxury car that cost over $4 million. However, he was still really moved to see Wang Xian willing to spend $1 million on him. Uncle Zhong patted Wang Xian on his shoulders and continued, I didn't really help you guys much and the help isn't worth that much. Uncle Zhong, some gratitude shouldn't be measured in monetary terms. Wang Xian replied to Uncle Zhong in a serious tone. Sigh. All right then. Although I don't have a son, having you as a nephew is better than having a son. Uncle Zhong was teary-eyed and moved. Uncle Zhong, you should go entertain your neighbors. You don't have to be so courteous with us. Wang Xian smiled. Great, great. The gloominess that hung over Uncle Zhong was gone and he revealed an excited look. This nephew of his had really made him proud. Don't just stand here, get a seat inside. The banquet will be starting soon. Please take a seat and wait a moment. Old Zhong, you are really lucky. Your daughter is marrying into a rich family and now you have such a nephew. I'm really envious. Yeah, Old Zhong, $660,000 as monetary gift. I believe you could enjoy the remainder of your life. Highs. Who would have expected the Wang siblings to return Old Zhong's kindness in such a way? The Wang siblings are really rich now and Old Zhong is really lucky. If we had As the crowd was discussing, some were feeling regretful. If they had taken care of the Wang siblings previously, they might be the ones on the receiving end right now. Can you guys shut up and stop your babbling? Are you treating this as your house? Have you guys not seen the outside world before? At this moment, a cold sneer sounded from the side. The crowd was slightly shocked and turned around. At one end, a slightly plump and burly young man extended his arm and revealed his tattoo. He was pointing at the crowd and shouting, "Damn you! Can't you keep your volume down?" Seeing that everyone had looked over, he shouted at them once again. Seeing this, Uncle Jong's expression changed. He immediately walked over and apologized. "I'm sorry that we have gotten a little noisy. I'm sorry." The bride and groom beside the young man stared at Uncle Jong coldly and sneered, "I wonder what you guys are babbling about. The groom isn't here and yet you guys are making so much noise." "That's right. The groom can't be seen. Perhaps he's not coming," the groom and the bride remarked sarcastically. The young man beside them raised an eyebrow and added, "Oh, so the groom isn't here yet. Hee hee. Are you guys hosting a wedding banquet with a dead person? What is there to be happy about?" The mockeries of the bride and groom had embarrassed Uncle Jong. When Uncle Jong heard what the young man said, his face turned red immediately. He was already mad that the groom wasn't here today. Now that he heard others commenting that his daughter was marrying a dead person, his body shivered in anger. You better watch your words," Uncle Jong said in agitation. "You better clean your mouth. Have you eaten shit?" When Wang Xian heard the young man and saw the embarrassed looks on Uncle Jong, he walked over emotionlessly as he spoke to the young man. "So what if I've said it? I, Feng Hai, have not been afraid of anyone in Pengju," the young man replied arrogantly to Uncle Jong and Wang Xian. "They are here, Feng Hai. Don't waste your time entertaining the group of clowns." At this moment, the groom saw cars stopping outside and immediately reminded Feng Hai. "TSK, trash." Feng Hai sneered at Wang Xian before turning to the groom and nodding his head. He saw people were arriving at the entrance and the three of them immediately went over. "That's too much." Uncle Jong looked at their back views, feeling embarrassed. These young men are really rude and arrogant. Yeah, they are too arrogant. Is this something a human would say? The surrounding neighbor commented and also looked at the back views of these young men with displeasure. That is. However, at this moment, a middle-aged man was shocked to see the group of people that these young men had gone over to receive. Walking at the front was a middle-aged man in a suit. He was full of smiles. Uncle Jong and his neighbor knew this middle-aged man well. He was one of the top figures in the entire Feng Lake County. The middle-aged man didn't have a good reputation. He had a group of underlings and no one in the entire Feng Lake County dared to offend him. They saw the middle-aged man talking with the groom and bride while also trying to get on the good books of Feng Hai. Du Qingshan. That's Du Qingshan. He's actually trying to get on the good books of that young man. That young man must have a strong backing for Du Qingshan to be acting so respectfully. Du Qingshan is here. Look at those behind him. Aren't those famous businessmen in Pengju? Oh my gosh. The families and friends of this family are really awesome. We can't afford to offend them. Since even Du Qingshan is trying to get on the good books of them, Feng Hai must be someone influential in Pengju too. There's no wonder why they were so arrogant. The surrounding crowd looked in shock as they witnessed the arrival of the group of people. Uncle Jong looked even more ghastly. He clenched his fist tightly but his expression gradually turned into a helpless look. Chapter 159, Strength, 2. The relatives and friends of this family are really impressive. Let's just go to our seats now. A rather esteemed elder saw that all the guests entering were reputable people from Pengju, and he sighed faintly. Let's go in. Some people made these comments indignantly. The young chap earlier on had not only pointed at them and scolded them, he even said nasty words to them. This made them feel very helpless. The other person had such strong connections, even Du Qingshan from the county had to fawn on him. To find fault with that young chap. It was akin to seeking trouble for oneself. Not to mention that there were others who seemed to have extraordinary identities in the crowd. Let's go in, Xiaoxian. Uncle Jong looked with unease as he spoke. His daughter had gotten married off, and things that went against his wishes kept happening. Wait a moment, let's go over, Uncle Zhong. At this moment, Wang Xian saw the young chap walking alongside the bride and groom, showing respect as they walked towards the crowd. There was a slight smile on his face with a tinge of arrogance. Uncle Zhong looked at Wang Xian with bewilderment. Come with me, Uncle Zhong, I cannot take this lying down anymore. Wang Xian gave a cold look as he turned his head towards Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu, let's go over. At this moment, Xiao Yu nodded her head and gave a slight smile as she looked upon the young chap and the bride and groom receiving people with respect. Forget it, Xiao Xian, they are mighty, and that Du Qingshan is a renowned character in the county. We cannot afford to offend him. Uncle Zhong looked on with discomfort as he tugged at Wang Xian's arm. No worries, Uncle Zhong, leave it to me. Wang Xian looked at Uncle Zhong and gave him a reassuring look. Uncle Zhong frowned and shook his head. Forget it, forget it. Then I shall go over with Xiao Yu. Wang Xian smiled when he saw that Uncle Zhong disliked getting into trouble. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu then walked towards the direction where the young chap and the bride and groom were situated. Sigh, this kid, Xiao Xian. Uncle Zhong looked uneasily and went along, as he was afraid that Wang Xian might lose out. As the young chap and the couple walked in, they immediately frowned and expressed displeasure as soon as Wang Xian and his company of two walked towards them. What are you guys here for? Are you trying to pick a fight? Just as Wang Xian and his company walked over, Feng Hai stared at them with aggression. Maybe it was because he was apprehensive about the few people around, therefore he did not start yelling. However, the few people, including a middle-aged couple, who were talking to the bride and groom were stunned. Some of them even threw curious looks over. When they saw Wang Xian and Xiao Yu, they were visibly astonished. We are here to give you a slap. Wang Xian looked at Feng Hai coldly and uttered. Such harsh words, what kind of upbringing did you have, MPH? Xiao Yu, who was also beside Wang Xian, spoke to Feng Hai. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yu. Standing behind them was Uncle Zhong, looking flustered. He immediately pulled Wang Xian and Xiao Yu back. What are Xiao Xian and Xiao Yu doing? Why are they trying to offend that young chap? I think they are trying to dig their own graves. Even Du Qingshan has to be respectful towards that young chapter. What exactly are they trying to do? These two people are just fooling around. They think that just because they are rich, they are so great. They had better not bring it upon us. This pair of Wang siblings are just too full of themselves. Just because they have that bit of money, they never realize there are people out there who are even richer and more powerful than they are. Just behind them, the people of Feng Lake County were showing signs of uneasiness, as they whispered amongst each other. Saint! Damn it, are you trying to dig your own grave? Today, my brother is getting married here, and we have elders here. While I still have a good mood, you better get out of my sight immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being nasty. At this moment, Feng Hai expressed his anger after hearing what Wang Xian said. He immediately pointed at Wang Xian and Xiao Yu, shouted angrily and threatened them boastfully. His voice interrupted an elderly man who was just beside and wanted to speak. The elderly man was astonished, and the middle-aged man and a young man that stood beside the elder were equally astonished. Fuck. The middle-aged man beside the elderly man directly spoke a vulgarity and expressed his discomfort and anger. To everyone's surprise, the middle-aged man swung his palm in full force and slapped Feng Hai hard in his face. Smack. Feng Hai could not even react in time, and even if he could dodge, he would not dare to do so. The middle-aged man's palm landed on Feng Hai's face, and the sound of the slap echoed through the main hall. This kind of force showed that the middle-aged man did not hold back his strength, and there was even a possibility that a few of Feng Hai's teeth might have fallen out. The crowd surrounding them were astonished. The family of the bride and groom were utterly shocked as they looked at the middle-aged man beside them. The middle-aged man and his family were notable figures that they had gone through painstaking efforts to invite. If it were not for the sake of their grandfather, the middle-aged man and his family would not even have come. But they could not figure out why. Why would the middle-aged man directly slap their friend's face? However, What shocked the crowd more was the fact that the middle-aged man and the elder were going over to the side of Wang Xian and Xiao Yu immediately. They bent their bodies, showing a great sign of respect on their faces. Saintess, Mr. Wang. These three people were not just any other people. They were the Song family from Pengju. The young man was Song Aowen, a disciple from the Thistles and Thorns sect. The middle-aged man and the elderly man were also participants of the selections conducted by the Thistles and Thorns sect. As they saw the future sect leader of the Thistles and Thorns sect, aka the Honorable Saintess, as well as the miracle Dr. Wang, even the Song family wanted to fawn over them, so they naturally did not dare to stir any more trouble. They saluted respectfully. As to how Feng Hai spoke towards the Saintess and Mr. Wang, they were also not going to relent. If Mr. Wang said to slap your face, you had to do it. Xiao Yu nodded her head. She was the Saintess of the Thorns and Thistles sect, so it would be more appropriate for her to handle the matter. Xiao Yu looked at the astonished faces of the bride and groom's families and gave a faint smile. Why did you all spout a vulgarity earlier on? Apologize to my uncle now. The bride and groom were stunned as they looked at Xiao Yu. Apologize. I asked both of you to apologize, you hear me? The elder from the Song family had a sullen expression as he gave the command to the bride and groom's families. Director Song, we. The families of the bride and groom left their mouths open in disbelief. Do you need me to teach all of you? If this matter is not settled with a solution that we are satisfied with, I think the Li family can cease to exist in Pengju. The elder of the Song family stared at the families of the bride and groom coldly. His warm expression had disappeared from his face. The families of the bride and groom felt a shiver down their spines. When they saw how serious the face of the elder was, they were terrified. So, sorry, it was our fault just now. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu did not say a word but continued to stare at them coldly. I am sorry, it was my fault. Please, I beg of you to forgive us. As they felt the icy stares of the three members of the Song family, the silence of the young man and young woman, both of their voices quivered, as if they were about to cry. You should apologize to my uncle. Wang Xian spoke coldly. I apologize. The bride and groom were thoroughly afraid. Who did they offend exactly? Why is the Song family treating them with such respect and falling out with us? Chapter 160, Strength, 3. The entire hotel lobby quietened down. This included Uncle Zhong's relatives and friends and also the relatives and friends of the bride and groom. The businessmen and influential figures on Pengju that they had invited over were looking at the development in disbelief. They knew clearly of the background of the bride and groom. The groom's grandfather is the president of a mining organization. He could be considered as one of the earliest batches of people in Pengju who got rich. Although the family business had been on a decline, the groom's grandfather had great connections throughout Pengju. As long as his grandfather was still around, the majority of the people in Rivertown would be respectful to him. Many rich men in Pengju were invited to the wedding. In fact, the old master had even invited members of the Song family. The Song family was the strongest family in Pengju at this moment. Their background was mysterious but strong. In Pengju, whenever the Song family stomped its feet, the entire Pengju would feel the tremors. Yet, the three members of the Song family were bowing down respectfully to a juvenile sibling and even ordered the groom and bride to apologize. Why would the Wang siblings be so influential? Even the guests that were invited by the other party had to be respectful to them and even slapped the arrogant young man for the Wang sibling. That's incredible. How did the Wang siblings get to know those influential figures? Even these people had to be respectful to the Wang siblings. Look, Du Qingshan is walking over. All the influential figures had gathered there. Oh my gosh. All of them are going over to greet those siblings. How can this be possible? Behind them, Uncle Zhong and his relatives and friends were dumbfounded. Those were people that they couldn't offend. Yet, when the Wang siblings went over, even those influential figures had to bow to the Wang siblings and even ordered the bride and groom to apologize. In fact, even Du Qingshan, who had been overbearing in the entire Feng Lake County, just stood there like a small underling. He wasn't at the level of those influential figures yet. At this very moment, Uncle Jong was completely shocked and stood there in a daze. He saw that arrogant young man fall to the floor from the slap. And he saw the arrogant bride and groom bowing down and apologizing in fear. This was completely beyond his imagination. Xiao Yu, Xiao Xian. Uncle Jong opened his mouth and looked at his nephew and niece. Wang Xian smiled at Uncle Jong before looking coldly at that couple. Seeing that it's your wedding today, I won't be calculative with you guys. Thank you, thank you. The bride and groom had already been scared out of their wits. When they realized Director Song didn't add a word, they finally heaved a huge sigh of relief. If he was someone that the Song family was so fearful of, what would the groom and bride even be in front of him? However, I wouldn't just let that young man off so easily. Wang Xian glanced at Feng Hai, who was just getting up. Feng Hai's mouth was filled with blood and his entire face had been deformed. I'll leave this to you guys. Xiao Yu frowned upon seeing Feng Hai, speaking to the 3 members of the Song family. Yes, yes. We will definitely give the Saintess and Mr. Wang a satisfactory explanation. 3 members of the Song family replied immediately. This was the order of the Saintess. Even if the Saintess wanted to crush the Li family, the Song family would not hesitate a moment. When Feng Hai heard what the Song family members said, his eyes were filled with despair. Following which, he blacked out and fell to the ground. Since the Song family had spoken, he was finished. Even if he was not dead, he would be severely punished. The faces of the bride and groom, together with the surrounding crowd, had turned as white as sheets. Mr. Wang, Saintess. I had not expected to bump into you guys in Pengju. Are you all here to attend a wedding too? The old man from the Song family looked around before asking this with a smile. Yeah. We are from Pengju too. My sister is getting married today. Seeing how careful the Song family was acting, Xiao Yu smiled and nodded her head. Oh, is that so? What a coincidence. Since she's a relative of the Saintess, she's also a relative of the Song family. Hee hee. The old man from the Song family smiled. She's the only relative we have in Pengju. Please help them along in the future. Wang Xian placed his hands over the shoulders of Uncle Jong as he spoke to the old man from the Song family. Not a problem at all. This is just a small matter. Rest assured, Mr. Wang. Just leave this to the Song family. The old man from the Song family immediately gave his guarantee. After this, he smiled. Since they are the relatives of the Saintess and Mr. Wang, they are one of us. Let's go over a while. Xiao Kuan, prepare some gifts for them. Yes, father. The middle-aged man beside the old man nodded his head. Following which, he headed towards the table that was collecting the monetary gifts. Du Qingshan, who was standing at one corner, looked at the development in disbelief. Suddenly, he spotted a familiar figure among the crowd. His expression changed, and he walked to Uncle Jong and asked, Big brother, are you from Feng Lake County? Yes, Director Du, how are you? Uncle Jong heard someone speaking to him. When he saw it was Du Qingshan, he was slightly shocked and immediately replied. I am not Director Du, big brother, you can just address me as Xiao Du would do. You should be a few years older than me. Du Qingshan put on a big smile and quickly added, I had not expected us to be from the same area. As he spoke, he smiled radiantly and said to the old man of the Song family, Director Song, we are from the same hometown. I'll look out for big brother in the future. No one would dare to offend him. When the old man from the Song family saw Du Qingshan walking over trying to curry favor, he nodded his head in satisfaction. Come with me in a while. Yes, yes. Du Qingshan was thrilled upon hearing the old man from the Song family. His face turned red in agitation as he looked to Uncle Jong. Big brother, we should be friends since we are from the same place. Let me just go give my monetary gift. Du Qingshan said as he walked towards the place to give the monetary gifts. At this moment, the middle-aged man was standing in front of the table collecting monetary gifts. The middle-aged man who was in charge of collecting immediately stood up, smiled and asked, Sir, how much would you like to give? $500,000. The middle-aged man from the Song family smiled before taking out stacks of cash from a briefcase. Whose name should I record for these? The middle-aged man's pupils shrank as he spoke. Just record it as the Song family, the middle-aged man from the Song family replied after pondering for a moment. All right. The middle-aged man nodded his head in a hurry. At this moment, Du Qingshan also walked over with a smile and said to the middle-aged man, Hey brother, please help to record mine too. Du. Director Du. You. $300,000. Du Qingshan smiled. My big brother's daughter is getting married. It's only natural that I give a little more. Big brother. When the middle-aged man heard Du Qingshan, he swallowed his saliva before replying, all right. One gave $500,000 and the other gave $300,000. Stacks of cash now filled the table. Chapter 161, Wedding Car Lineup, 1. Gulp. Everyone around them was watching in disbelief. Subsequently, they cast envious glances at Old Zhong and his family. They knew that Old Zhong's family had achieved a place in the sun. Even the influential Du Qingshan had to fawn upon him with respect, and gave him $300,000 cash as a monetary gift. From now on, who, in the entire county, would dare to offend Old Zhong and his family? Not to mention the Song family, who was more powerful than Du Qingshan. Everyone, please proceed to the function room. We'll begin our banquet soon. After Wang Xian and Xiao Yu told Song family, they walked towards Sister Li. Uncle Zhong was following beside them in a daze. But he was more happy and proud than ever. Let's go. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yu are awesome. Both of them turned into powerful people. That's right. Both of them just walked over and said a few words. The other party apologized immediately. The big shot they invited even struck out immediately. Old Zhong, you really hit the jackpot to have such nephew and niece. Old Zhong, don't forget us when you strike a fortune, said the crowd to Wang Xian, Xiao Yu, and Uncle Zhong pleasingly. The jealousy in them had long since disappeared. What they had were envy and fawning for Uncle Zhong. Uncle Zhong looked at the friends and relatives around him and appeared to be standing up with his head high. All this was because of his nephew and niece. At the same time, the banquet struck a blow to his relatives and friends. Most people felt regretful. If they had shown slight care and concern for the Wang siblings back then, they would be rewarded for it now. Even if it was a small reward from the Wang siblings, they could hold their heads up in the Feng Lake County. Oh, Aunt Zhong and Sister Li, aren't you rushing down to Rivertown today? Asked Xiao Yu with curiosity. The banquet ended at about 2 p.m., and Xiao Yu was driving Wang Xian, Aunt Zhong, and Sister Li back home. Sai, we'll be going tomorrow instead of today. Your Uncle Zhong is going to rent a wedding car. Since they're not coming to fetch us, we'll have to send Xiao Li over. Aunt Zhong shook her head slowly. Even though we settled the young guy today, it also irritated your Uncle Zhong. He could not take this lying down. So he decided we should send her over ourselves, Aunt Zhong said, looking at her daughter. Xiao Li, if Xiao Wei's family bullies you after you marry over, you can always come back. Don't endure them. Don't worry, Mom. Xiao Wei has been good to me. He's just too obedient to his parents. Sister Li pouted. Obviously, she was not very pleased with her boyfriend this time. Sister Li, what's the name of the future brother-in-law and his father? What kind of businesses are they into? Upon hearing their conversation, Wang Xian turned over and asked Sister Li. Your future brother-in-law is called Wei Jiwen. His family is in the medical equipment business. His father is Wei Qinghua, who has some reputation in Rivertown, Sister Li replied. Out of curiosity, she asked, why, Xiao Xian? Do you know them? After learning of Wang Xian and Xiao Yu's strength today, Sister Li was also taken by surprise. Compared to how they were acting in the afternoon, her husband's family might not have such a daunting influence. Wang Xian shook his head. He took out his phone. I'll settle the wedding car. On top of that, I'll also settle some other things for you, Sister Li. As he spoke, he called Uncle Zhong and asked him not to rent any car. He would settle this matter. Sister Li stared at Wang Xian with a stunned face. She hesitated before she decided to swallow her words. Aunt Zhong quickly thanked him. After talking to Uncle Zhong, he continued to call the head of Ren family. Ren family had shares in most of the car dealers in Rivertown. Getting their help in finding a wedding car should be an effortless task for them. When the head of Ren family received Wang Xian's call, he was thrilled on the phone. He patted his chest and promised to prepare the wedding car. The car reached the home of Aunt Zhong. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu went to their house and sat for a while. In the evening, after having dinner at Uncle Zhong's place, they chit-chatted with Uncle Zhong for half an hour in front of the door. After Wang Xian and Xiao Yu went home, Wang Xian dialed old Qin's number with hesitation. "Hello, Wang Xian? What's the matter?" Old Qin's voice was heard. "Old Qin, I need to ask you something. Do you know Wei Qinghua, who deals with pharmaceutical equipment in Rivertown?" Wang Xian asked Old Qin directly. "Wei Qinghua? Are you talking about the Wei Qinghua from the Ling Medical Equipment Group?" Old Qin asked with doubt. "I guess so. He has some reputation in Rivertown." Wang Xian nodded. "Old Qin, does Wei Qinghua have any immediate superior in the Rivertown? Or does he need to answer to any leaders or any organizations?" "Yes, two in the healthcare industry, and another one is Miao Zhiyong, who is cooperating with Duan family. Wei Qinghua also needs to curry favor with the rest of the hospital directors too," Old Qin answered. "Can you help me contact them tomorrow? I need their help," Wang Xian said with a smile on his face. "Haha, sure. Wang Xian, these are trivial matters. If they know you are the one who asked for their help, they will rush over here no matter how busy they are." Old Qin laughed out loud as he spoke. He knew about what had happened in the Yang family. After he heard Old Shui's account, he remained shocked for a long time. At the same time, he was glad that Qin family was on good terms with Wang Xian. Currently, who in Rivertown dared to defy Wang Xian? He may not have proclaimed himself to be the king, but everyone took him as the king without saying. Wang Xian chuckled. "Thanks, Old Qin. You can pass them my number later and get them to call me. This time, I will make sure Uncle Zhong is completely out of worry so that he can enjoy his life from now on." After hanging up the phone, a faint smile surfaced on his face. After he settled Sister Li's matter, he would not have anything to worry about in his hometown. In the future, they could always come back to visit Uncle Zhong and Aunt Zhong once a year. In less than 5 minutes, a phone call came in. "Hello, young Master Wang. I'm Miao Zhiyong. How may I help you?" Back in a luxurious villa near a mountain, a middle-aged man was holding a phone with a beaming face as he asked respectfully. "Hello, Director Miao. It's not something difficult. Are you free tomorrow?" "Yes, speak your mind, young Master Wang. Your matter is the most important thing now. Tomorrow, my sister is marrying someone from the Wei Qinghua's family in Rivertown. I need your attendance." "Sure, young Master Wang. Just send me the address, and I'll go over tomorrow." Wang Xian nodded and smiled. "Hubby, tomorrow is our 25th wedding anniversary. Where are you going?" A wealthy lady next to Miao Zhiyong asked immediately when she heard his call. "I can't make it tomorrow. I have to accompany a big shot to do something." Miao Zhiyong shook his head with a solemn face. At the same time, his eyes were filled with surprise. "Old Qin?" asked the wealthy lady sternly. "Someone even more powerful than the Qin family." Chapter 162, Wedding Car Lineup, 2. Wang Xian made 4 to 5 consecutive phone calls. After which, he smiled satisfactorily. Every single one of them had promised to be here on time. What just happened to Miao Zhiyong was also happening to several wealthy and influential people in Rivertown. They were all people who had the abilities to directly or indirectly affect the Wei family's medical equipment company. In fact, if 2 or 3 of them were to join hands to mess with the Wei family, they would be able to force the Wei family to declare bankruptcy. Wei family's influence in Rivertown was still above average and had assets of $700 to $800 million. However, it had a weakness, and that was poor connections and background. "Let's go to bed." After settling all the matters, Wang Xian got on the bed and fell asleep. The next morning, Wang Xian and Xiao Yu headed over to Uncle Zhong's house for breakfast. There were already quite a few people who had gathered there in the morning and were chatting. Xiao Xian, when will the wedding cars that you got be coming? I shouldn't have troubled you with this. If I had known that you were getting the wedding cars from Rivertown, I wouldn't have asked you to. Uncle Zhong sat beside Wang Xian and spoke while drinking pu'er tea. It's fine, Uncle Zhong. I've asked them to be here by 9 a.m. We will reach Rivertown by 11 and just in time. Wang Xian smiled. 9 a.m.? It's almost time. Uncle Zhong nodded his head. Xiao Xian is a really great kid and knows about returning kindness. He has settled everything for you. Old Zhong, you don't have to worry, an old man beside Uncle Zhong commented. Yeah, I'm really lucky. Uncle Zhong smiled. Look. There are quite a number of cars heading our way. At this moment, a middle-aged man standing by the side saw the situation on the road. He was shocked by what he saw. The wedding cars are here. The rest of the crowd looked over inquisitively. At this moment, Wang Xian received a message on his phone. He stood up, smiled and said, "They are here. Once Sister Li is ready, we can go set off right away. Let's go, let's go." Uncle Zhong nodded his head and looked towards the wedding cars lined up from afar. He revealed a smile and went to the room to call Aunt Zhong and Sister Li immediately. Sister Li changed into her wedding gown. She had exquisite makeup on and looked extremely beautiful. What are these cars? They are simply stunning. There are even sports cars. Oh my gosh. There are at least 50 to 60 cars in this lineup. These cars are simply stunning. Wow. Look at the car plates. Look at those car plates. When Uncle Zhong and his family member walked out, they immediately heard the exclamations of the crowd. They looked over and were surprised to see 50 to 60 wedding cars. The one leading the lineup was a luxurious Rolls-Royce Phantom that cost over $10 million. Behind it were 9 other Rolls-Royces. Behind the Rolls-Royces, there were 10 Bentleys. Moving further back, there were Lamborghini Aventadors, Ferrari sports cars, Maseratis, and many others. At the very end, 6 Land Rovers concluded the lineup of 50 to 60 wedding cars. Seeing such a luxurious wedding car lineup, Sister Li's jaw dropped in astonishment. However, what truly shocked her were the car plates of these cars. The Southern Province cars started with S. Cars from Rivertown would start with SB. The car plate number of the first Rolls-Royce was SB 11111. The car plate number for the second Rolls-Royce was SB 22222. Moving back, she even saw car plates like SB 88888 and SB 12345. Due to the influence of her finance, she knew a little about the significance of car plate numbers. An ordinary man would never be able to get numbers like SB 11111, 22222, 88888. Those who owned these car plates were undoubtedly the filthy rich and influential people of Rivertown. How did Xiao Xian get these luxury cars? Sister Li was shocked. Young Master Wang, the wedding cars are here. Are you satisfied with these? At this moment, Ren Anji alighted from a car at the back and ran towards Wang Xian. Wang Xian had asked the Ren family to help him find some wedding cars, and the Ren family head had decided to let his son bring them over. Great. I have troubled you guys. Wang Xian nodded his head and smiled. Not at all, not at all. Ren Anji waved his hand in response. All right, let's go then. Wang Xian looked at Sister Li and Uncle Zhong. Let's go, let's go. Xiao Xian, this lineup is a little too extravagant. Uncle Zhong sighed emotionally. Wang Xian simply smiled in response. He got onto Xiao Yu's car and the crowd headed towards Rivertown. Summer Sun International Hotel was one of the only 3 5-star hotels in Rivertown. Due to its connection with the Shui family, the Summer Sun International Hotel also had the best business. Today, the son of Wei Qinghua, Wei Jiwen, would be having his wedding in the Summer Sun International Hotel. The Wei family could also be considered as a respectable family in Rivertown. Therefore, the wedding of the future successor to the Wei family was done in a grandiose manner. What? The bride's party is sending their daughter over with the wedding cars that they sourced themselves? Within a luxurious room of the hotel, a middle-aged woman looked bitter as she questioned the young man. Yes, Mom. Isn't that great? She didn't have to come from the hotel. Once she arrives, we can start the wedding ceremony, the young man explained. Great. How can this be great? Isn't that embarrassing? Her family will probably get cars that cost several $100,000 as wedding cars. When they arrive at the hotel lobby, Faithy will embarrass us. No way. This won't do. The middle-aged woman spoke with a hideous look. They could choose to not go to the bride's house, but their son's wedding had to be luxurious in Rivertown. Tell me, Qingxiu is such a fine lady. Her family background isn't any inferior to ours. Furthermore, she just returned from her overseas studies. You. The middle-aged woman pointed at the young man and remarked angrily. All right. Now that they are getting married, let's not talk about these scenarios. Just get someone to escort her to the 8th floor when she arrives, Wei Qinghua interrupted. Dad, aren't we going to receive them at the lobby? The young man said bitterly. He was none other than Wei Jiwen. Doesn't she have legs? Is she handicapped? After this wedding, if her parents aren't satisfied, get them to look for a better family, the middle-aged woman commented grumpily. Mom, how can you say that? Xiao Li is my wife and your daughter-in-law. Upon hearing his mom's comment, Wei Jiwen wasn't pleased. All right, Mom shall not speak of her in such a manner. I'll try to manage our relationship in the future, the middle-aged woman replied. She still loved her son deeply. Wei Jiwen nodded his head with satisfaction. At this moment, the middle-aged man added, we are not going to receive them. Just get Xiao Li to come up directly. Wei Jiwen revealed a bitter look. After giving some thought to it, he finally nodded. In that case, I'll let Xiao Li know. Sigh. It would be great if you married a girl like Qingxiu. If our families worked together, our business would reach new heights. Why did you choose a girl from a village? Sigh. When the middle-aged woman saw her son leave, she sighed emotionally. What else can we do? This child is determined to marry her. He even made her pregnant. TSK. It's entirely the village girl's fault. Chapter 163, The Price of Getting Off the Car, 1. A fleet of 50 to 60 wedding cars drove into Rivertown in a massive formation as they headed to the Summer Sun International Hotel. 10 Rolls-Royces, 10 Bentleys, and the rest were other posh cars like Lamborghinis Aventadors and Maseratis. This team of wedding cars, worth at least $300 million, looked extremely lavish. When the cars entered the city area of Rivertown, they drew the immediate attention of many people. Such a luxurious wedding fleet was uncommon. Uncle Zhong and Aunt Zhong were sitting in a Rolls-Royce, looking around happily. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu were beaming as they followed behind the car fleet. Sister Li got married in a blink of an eye. I wonder when it'll be your turn. Xiao Yu stared gleefully at the car fleet in front. You think too much. I'm only a year 2 student, Wang Xian said nonchalantly as he darted a look at Xiao Yu. Hee. Xiao Yu chuckled. The car fleet quickly arrived at the doorstep of the Summer Sun International Hotel. There was ample open space for parking in front of the hotel. Under the direction of the hotel staff, a fleet of 50 to 60 wedding cars was parked in rows. The scene was spectacular. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu stepped out of the car. Wang Xian fished out his phone and made calls to those who had contacted him yesterday. After he ended the call, Miao Zhiyong and the rest of them, who were waiting for him in advance, trotted over. Young Master Wang. 6 of them greeted him with a beaming face. Thank you for taking the trouble to come over here today, Wang Xian said to them with a smile. It's no trouble. You're welcome. Miao Zhiyong and the rest quickly waved their hands. It's our honor to offer you our help. Besides, it's a small matter. Thank you. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. What? They want us to go over ourselves. This is fucking too much. Our car fleet has arrived downstairs and yet, they refuse to receive us personally. What is this? At the same time, Uncle Zhong's raging voice was heard from the front. Wang Xian frowned slightly and walked over immediately while Xiao Yu followed behind quickly. Miao Zhiyong and the rest who were following behind were puzzled as well. When they received the orders from Old Qin and young Master Wang to put up a front for the bride and Wei family's wedding today, they thought of such a situation. But now, it seemed more severe than they thought. Is the Wei family seeking their doom? A middle-aged man could not help but whisper. Let's take a look. What's wrong, Uncle Zhong? Wang Xian and Xiao Yu walked to the first Rolls-Royce and asked Uncle Zhong doubtfully. Wei Jiwen is such a loser. He wants us to go to the 8th floor ourselves. Going there by ourselves. They are not even providing the wedding car. Now that we're here, they didn't even bother to receive us. Do they know the rules? Aren't they bullying us? Uncle Zhong raised his voice in a fit of anger. Aunt Zhong, next to him, was looking dreadful. Sister Li was looking embarrassed. This is too much. What a bunch of assholes. Xiao Yu raged after she heard Uncle Zhong's account. However, she immediately covered her mouth the moment she realized her choice of words. Xiao Yu, you're right. Those assholes think we're some pushovers. Uncle Zhong immediately agreed with what Xiao Yu said. You think it's troublesome to fetch us in a wedding car? Fine. Yesterday, you refused to show up at the wedding banquet of the bride. This is over. And now this. Uncle Zhong could not take it lying down anymore. When Wang Xian heard this, his face turned sullen. With a pair of cold eyes he said, Has the Wei family finished setting up the banquet in the hotel? Yes, they are done. They invited quite a few people over. Still, their family took this wedding seriously, Sister Li replied immediately. Seriously? They're trying to make themselves look good. What about us? This is not the first time. Uncle Zhong snarled. Sister Li did not dare to reply to her raging father. Calm down. Calm down. Aunt Zhong comforted him. We'll wait over here. They want to look good, right? Get them to come over and receive us. If they don't come, we're not going up. Let's wait and see. Wang Xian looked at Uncle Zhong and suggested. Xiao Xian is right. Xiao Li, you will tell Wei Jiwen to get his butt down here to receive us with his family. Otherwise, we're not going up. Tell him this is what I said. Uncle Zhong said directly. Xiao Li showed a bitter expression. But when she thought of Wang Xian's effort, getting her a fleet of luxurious cars in Rivertown, she was unhappy to walk up herself. So, she called her boyfriend. Wei Jiwen, who was greeting the guests, answered his girlfriend's phone immediately in the hotel. Soon, he had an embarrassing look as he hurriedly consoled her. Mom, Dad, let's go down and receive Xiao Li, shall we? Xiao Li and her family have arrived. Wei Jiwen walked to his parents and said bitterly. Ha! Didn't we tell them to come up straight to the 8th floor? The middle-aged lady frowned and said with an impatient expression. Mom, the father-in-law said we must receive them. Otherwise, we're not following the customary practice, Wei Jiwen answered with an embarrassed look. Practice? Since they're here, they should abide by our practices. Are we going to abide by their practices from the countryside? Can they afford it? The middle-aged woman threw out mean words. Get them to come up now and stop making trouble. Wei Qingguo frowned and continued. We still have to entertain our friends and relatives. This, Wei Jiwen was feeling helpless. He made a call again. However, before he could even finish what he wanted to say, an angry voice was heard from the phone. Wei Jiwen, I'm telling you now. Either your family comes down to receive us, or I'll send my daughter back. Upon hearing this, Wei Jiwen's face paled slightly. He was an introvert, and he had been an obedient child to his parents since he was young. This time, he had shown great determination in marrying Xiao Li. Now that he was in such a situation, he could not do much. Dad, Mom. Wei Jiwen came to his parents with a dreadful look. What's the matter? The middle-aged lady raised her eyebrows and asked. Father-in-law is unwilling to come up on his own. Let's go down, shall we? We just need to receive them and bring them up, Wei Jiwen pleaded as he asked. Such a troublemaker. The middle-aged lady sulked as she stared at her son with dissatisfaction. Fine. Let's go. It's not good if we insist. Wei Qingguo frowned and said to them. Temph, let's go. We're going down to fetch the bride. Please take a seat, everyone. Wei Qingguo greeted his friends, relatives, and his business acquaintances as he prepared to go down. Oh, picking up the bride. Let's go and have a look. Yes, We're going over too. We haven't seen how beautiful the bride is. Haha, yes. Let's join the party. The friends and relatives around them followed behind with curiosity. They had yet to see the bride, so they wanted to check her out. Chapter 164, The Price of Getting Off the Car. Seeing the group of people following, Wei Qingguo had a ghastly expression. If I let my relatives and friends witness the bride arriving in a wedding car that costs a few $100,000, wouldn't that be embarrassing? What will this tell them about us? They probably will say we are mean to let the bride sit in such a car. The middle-aged woman looked disgruntled. However, she couldn't possibly send them back after seeing their enthusiastic looks. This had made her look even more disgruntled. She really knows how to cause us trouble. Wei Qingguo mumbled softly as he headed down with a grumpy face. Director Wei, why didn't you ask the photographer along? There should be video coverage for receiving the bride, right? As the group of more than a dozen people walked out of the lift, one middle-aged man asked this. It's fine. We like to keep this process simple. The two kids have already taken lots of wedding photos and videos as records. Wei Qingguo squeezed out a faint smile. In that case, let our groom be at the front to receive the beautiful bride and the parents behind him to welcome their daughter-in-law, a middle-aged man joked loudly. Let's go, the crowd behind him seconded. No one had noticed the looks on Wei Qingguo or the middle-aged woman. On the other hand, Wei Jiwen was wearing a faint smile as he walked out. Where are the wedding cars? When the crowd arrived at the lobby, Wei Qingguo looked around. He instinctively skipped the luxurious cars as he looked around him. Where are they? The middle-aged woman also looked around. Her face darkened as she commented, Don't tell me they are only coming in 2 or 3 cars. What a huge lineup of wedding cars ahead. Wow. Rolls-Royce and sports cars. Isn't that a little too extravagant? Oh my gosh. Take a look at those car plates. Which influential person of Rivertown do these belong to? What a grand lineup. I haven't heard of any wealthy man in Rivertown getting married today. At this moment, doubts sounded from the crowd of relatives and friends. Wei Qingguo and the middle-aged woman also saw the luxurious wedding car lineup. However, they did not believe they were from Xiaoli's family. They knew clearly about their daughter-in-law's family. The crowd also didn't believe that these luxury cars belonged to the Wei family. They knew the Wei family well. Although they were rich, they still couldn't afford a wedding car lineup that cost $300 million. Son, give them a call. The middle-aged woman heard the exclamations of the surrounding relatives. If the wedding cars that arrive in a while cost just a few $100,000, it would be really embarrassing in comparison with the luxury cars ahead. The middle-aged woman and Wei Qingguo weren't looking pleased. When the phone call got through, it was Uncle Zhong who answered the call. We are right ahead of you guys. Can't you see us? Wei Jiwen, who was making the call, was instantly shocked as he looked ahead. There was indeed a familiar face standing in front of the Rolls-Royce. Father-in-law, these cars. Come over. Uncle Zhong said impatiently before passing the phone to his daughter in the car. Dad, Mom, they are right there. Let's go over. Wei Jiwen pointed to the cars ahead and led the group over. Where? The middle-aged woman looked in the direction her son pointed and followed behind her son. There. Wei Jiwen pointed his finger again. Wei Qingguo and the middle-aged woman looked over and saw 2 familiar figures standing beside the Rolls-Royce. They were the parents of the bride. Why are they standing? Wei Qingguo and the middle-aged woman were shocked. When they got closer to the wedding cars, they started seeing other familiar faces. At this moment, they couldn't help but be surprised. They knew clearly about the bride's family and were extremely dissatisfied about it. They were from a village. However, they were in a Rolls-Royce luxury car right now and were surrounded by several dozens of other luxury cars. Even the Wei family couldn't afford such a grand line-up. What the? It can't be. Look at those luxury cars from the bride's family and those car plates. Aren't those the cars of the Ren family's head? And those cars right there. Aren't those the cars of several other wealthy men in Rivertown? Why are they all being used as wedding cars? Isn't the bride from the village? The Wei family wouldn't be able to afford such a luxurious line-up of wedding cars too. The crowd of relatives and friends were commenting and felt disbelief. Wei Qingguo and the middle-aged woman were also stunned by what they saw. Their daughter-in-law was indeed sitting in the luxury car. "It's really hard to get you here." When Uncle Zhong saw them walking over, he remarked mockingly. "Father-in-law." When Wei Jiwen heard Uncle Zhong, he greeted with embarrassment before looking towards Sister Li. Wei Qingguo and his wife asked, How did you guys get so many luxury cars as wedding cars?" "What? I can't get other cars to send my daughter over just because you are not willing to fetch her?" Uncle Zhong replied angrily. "Heh." Uncle Zhong's words surprised the crowd behind the Wei Qingguo's couple. They looked towards Wei Qingguo and his wife curiously. It seemed that they weren't very pleased about it. Moreover, the Wei family seemed to have not sent wedding cars to fetch the bride. "All right, let's talk after we get in. Let's go upstairs. We have a number of guests waiting." When Wei Qingguo heard Uncle Zhong, he quickly diverted the topic out of embarrassment. Those that had come along with him were all his relatives and friends. He didn't want to lose his composure here. "Xiao Li, let's get up together," Wei Jiwen said to Sister Li, who was in the car. "Wait a minute, brother-in-law. We had a hard time sending Sister Li over. How can she just go up with you? You've got to at least give her a red packet to get her off the car. These are the rules and customs." Wang Xian placed his hand on the car door as he smiled and spoke to Wei Jiwen. Uncle Zhong looked at the Wei family's reaction before turning to Wang Xian. He stood aside and didn't say a word. "Red packet?" Wei Qingguo and his wife were slightly shocked and Wei Jiwen frowned. They had not prepared any red packet. However, giving a red packet to get the bride off the wedding car was also a customary thing to do. The amount wasn't the crux of the issue. "You guys must have gone crazy from thinking about money," the middle-aged woman grumbled softly. However, Wang Xian, who was closest to her, could hear her perfectly. "Xiao Li, let's not kick up a fuss. Will you just get off the car? The wedding is about to start. We can't afford to miss the auspicious hour," Wei Jiwen said quickly. "Hee." Wang Xian looked at the Wei family's couple and revealed a cold smirk. At this moment, a mocking voice came from the back of the crowd. "Ayo, a wedding should be lively. Can it be that the Wei family didn't even prepare a red packet? How can you guys not show even this level of sincerity?" It was from Miao Jiwei and the group. They could now tell that young Master Wang had invited them over to support him and mess with the Wei family. Any one of the 6 of them could severely damage Wei family's business. Any 2 or 3 of them together could make the Wei family bankrupt. Chapter 165, Painful Price. The sarcastic tone stunned Mr. and Mrs. Wei Jiwen, and the rest of their relatives and friends. Anger flashed within Wei Qingguo's eyes. He bet the in-laws wanted to embarrass them. "Our Wei family is preparing a grand wedding. Wei Qingguo lifted his head with a furious look as he traced the source of the voice. However, he froze before he could finish his sentence as he looked shockingly at the 6 people in front of him. Director Miao, Director Li, Manager Fang, Director Zhao, Director Hang, and Director Wu. When Wei Qingguo saw them, his pupils could not help but constrict. All 6 of them were people whom he needed to fawn upon. Why are they here? "Hello, Director Wei." Miao Zhiyong smiled at Wei Qingguo with a sarcastic look on his face. "Today, we are here to send the bride off. But, we didn't expect to wait this long. The bride came, and yet, you were slow in receiving her. You don't even have basic manners. Director Wei, you're doing things the wrong way." Yes. It was our oversight." Miao Zhiyong spoke as if he was teaching a lesson to Wei Qingguo. But Wei Qingguo did not dare to be displeased about it. He hurriedly bowed and apologized. "If you want the bride to come out of the car, you should at least prepare some red packet." Director Zhao beside him grinned at Wei Qingguo. "Yes, I got it. We'll prepare them right away." Wei Qingguo apologized with a nod, even though he was full of surprise. Why did these 6 people come with the bride's wedding car? Was it a coincidence or? Uncle Zhong, Aunt Zhong, and Sister Li were shocked to see this. What was going on? Why did Wei Qingguo treat those 6 people beside Xiao Xian with so much respect? The relatives and friends behind Wei Qingguo were equally surprised when they saw this. Among them, some recognized Miao Zhiyong and the rest. All 6 people had a great influence on Wei family's business. Yes, we'll get it done now, said the middle-aged lady quickly with a constant mixed expression. If you don't have the red packet, that's fine. You can always give something else. Wang Xian smiled nonchalantly at Wei Qingguo and his wife. What else? Wei Qingguo knit his eyebrows slightly when he heard Wang Xian. Radiance flickered in his eyes as he stared at Wang Xian, unsure of his identity. Since it's for the bride, it's as good as switching the gift from your left hand to your right hand. Wang Xian looked at them with his lips drawn. Seeing everyone staring at him, he smiled and continued, all the shares of the Ling Medical Equipment Group and all assets of the Wei family can be treated as Sister Li's red packet for getting off the car. What? Are you insane? What sheer nonsense is this? As soon as Wang Xian finished his sentence, the middle-aged lady pointed her finger at Wang Xian and shrieked. What nonsense are you talking about? Wei Qingguo stared at Wang Xian with a dreadful look. Even Uncle Zhong and Aunt Zhong, next to him, were shocked. I think it is feasible. It's not a big deal to transfer Wei family's assets to the bride. Young Master Wang is right. You'll have to pay some price for getting a daughter-in-law. You didn't even receive the bride when she's been here for so long. Take it as a little punishment. Yes, since young Master Wang's sister is married to the Wei family, you can't treat her poorly. Assets transfer is not a big deal. Miao Zhiyong, Director Li, and the rest persuaded Wei Qingguo in a cold tone. To them, it was a great honor for the Wei family since young Master Wang's sister was marrying their son. How dare the Wei family forego and pay no attention to the customary practice? No wonder young Master Wang had to get the 6 of them. Wei family was digging their own grave. This. Wei Qingguo's expression turned awful immediately when the 6 of them expressed their opinions. He was staring at Wang Xian with a pair of disbelieving eyes. Young Master Wang? The 6 of them actually addressed him as young Master Wang? The middle-aged lady watched this scene, looking pale. What are Director Miao and the rest trying to do? Force them. You can't blame me for asking too much. Sister Li held her banquet yesterday when she married to your family. But none of you turned up. Not even the groom. Heh, I even had to look for my own wedding car. In that case, I can only ask for a bigger red packet for my sister Li. Wang Xian beamed as he looked at the pale-looking middle-aged lady and Wei Qingguo. The relatives and friends behind them were shocked as they stared at them. None of them uttered a word. Transferring all our assets, isn't this too much? Wei Qingguo had a constant mixed expression as he spoke with a trembling voice. Nope, I don't think so, Miao Zhiyong answered with a face full of smiles. I can tell that the Wei family is bullying the bride's family. If you don't pay such a price, who knows if you will continue to bully the bride? That's right, Director Wei. You need to reconsider it. If you don't agree with it, we have our own ways too, Manager Fang said impassively to Wei Qingguo. How can all of you do such things? The middle-aged lady had an ashen look with her body trembling violently. Her voice sounded like she was crying. I'm getting a safety net for my sister Li, said Wang Xian coldly to them. Wei Qingguo, don't turn things ugly. Otherwise, you won't have a chance to make it up. Miao Zhiyong at the side threatened him. A look of despair flashed across Wei Qingguo's eyes. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Fine, we will transfer all our assets to our daughter-in-law. Please step out of the car. Great, Director Wei. You're generous. Come to us if you have any need in the future, Miao Zhiyong said smilingly to Wei Qingguo. A stick and a carrot. 6 of them could easily make the Wei family bankrupt. At the same time, they could bring Wei family to the next level. Upon hearing Miao Zhiyong, Wei Qingguo gave a smile. None of them knew if the smile was a happy one or an upset one. Perhaps it was both. Whatever had happened today was totally beyond his expectations. A daughter-in-law from the countryside, whom they despised, actually had such an influential brother. He could get all the people whom Ling Medical Equipment Group depended on over here. He wanted all of the Wei family's assets to be transferred under the bride's name. Yet, Wei Qingguo did not dare to refuse. Otherwise, Ling Medical Equipment Group would not survive for more than 6 months. How? The middle-aged lady was stupefied. Are they giving away the properties and assets that the Wei family worked hard for in the past decades just like this? To the daughter-in-law whom she had always looked down upon? Uncle Zhong and Aunt Zhong were dumbfounded as they looked at Mr. and Mrs. Wei, then back to Wang Xian again. Sister Li, in the wedding car, was looking confused. All the Wei family's assets are going under my name? Xiao Wei, aren't you getting the bride out of the car on your big day? The relatives and friends of the Wei family quickly got this situation out of a fix. Yes, Xiao Wei. Pick her up and get ready for the wedding, Wei Qingguo and the middle-aged lady said hurriedly. It was a situation that was hard for them to swallow, but nothing could be changed. In the future, they would have to please this daughter-in-law. Chapter 166, Getting a Beachfront House. Sister Li's wedding had ended and Uncle Zhong and his wife were delighted. After getting to know about Wang Xian's background from Miao Zhiyong and the group, Wei Qingguo and the middle-aged lady had given up on some thoughts that they were harboring. They knew about the reputation of miracle Dr. Wang from the old street. It was just that they hadn't seen him previously. At this moment, they had truly witnessed his capabilities. To make up for their actions for the last 2 days, they even wanted to head to Pengju to host a makeup banquet. However, this idea was rejected by Uncle Zhong. Now that his nephew and niece had made him really proud in Feng Lake County, he wasn't really bothered by this. What made Uncle Zhong and his wife really contented was that they wouldn't have to worry about Xiao Li being put into a tough spot in the Wei family in the future. With all their assets transferred to Sister Li, the Wei family would have to treat their daughter-in-law really well. Otherwise, if they bullied Sister Li and she left, the Wei family would be finished. When the cowardly Wei Juwen saw how this had developed, he was thrilled instead. This made Wang Xian and Xiao Yu a little speechless. This brother-in-law of ours really has no desire to be in conflict with others. Xiao Xian, Uncle really has to thank you for what you've done for this incident. After the wedding banquet, Uncle Zhong patted on Wang Xian's shoulders and spoke with a radiant smile. Uncle Zhong, these are just some small matters. Ask Sister Li to bring you guys to first-grade restaurant to have a meal over the next 2 days. Sister Li should know about it. This is the restaurant that I own. As for accommodation, you guys could stay with Sister Li over the next few days. Wang Xian smiled at Uncle Zhong and his wife. Sigh. Uncle Zhong patted Wang Xian's shoulders once again and heaved a sigh. With a flicker of gratitude in his eyes, he remarked, "Work hard." Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. Uncle Zhong, Aunt Zhong, we are leaving. Xiao Yu waved at them before driving off. The returns of today are from small assistance rendered a few years ago. We are really lucky. Seeing the car disappearing from his vision, Uncle Zhong sighed emotionally. Aunt Zhong, who was standing by the side, smiled and wrapped her arms around Uncle Zhong's arm. Brother, where are we heading? Back to school? Xiao Yu asked curiously as she drove. Let's not return to school. It's not convenient to always stay at school. I'm thinking of getting a house outside school, Wang Xian said to Xiao Yu. Wang Xian had made up his mind to get a house several days earlier. The dormitory room was small, squeezy, and inconvenient. He definitely would like to have a house outside the school. Moreover, it had to be a beachfront house. One where you could see the seas once you opened the windows. Brother, we are getting a house. Xiao Yu turned her head towards Wang Xian and asked excitedly. Wang Xian nodded his head. Let's get a beachfront house. Wow. Brother, let's go get a house. Xiao Yu remarked agitatedly. Wang Xian smiled. Let's go to the Supreme Seas Development Zone. Supreme Seas Development Zone was the name of a luxury development area. It was located by the Golden Supreme Coast. Golden Supreme Coast was an extremely beautiful beach in Rivertown. Currently, this piece of land was owned by a well-known developer. The developer had built a luxury living area on it and named it as the Supreme Seas Development Zone. Houses within the Supreme Seas Development Zone were all beachfront houses. They were beside the seas and were sufficiently warm, so that flowers could bloom during the spring season. The Supreme Seas Development Zone was a little far from the city area and would take 40 minutes by car. It was also a half-hour ride away from school. The car arrived at the entrance of the Supreme Seas Development Zone and they could see the golden beach illuminated by the sun from afar. The entire beach was extremely breathtaking. Within the zone, there were wooden huts and beautiful pools. The villas weren't beside each other and were widely apart from one another, just like a standalone villa. Over this piece of land, there were only 30 to 40 villas. Let's go take a look at the sales office. Wang Xian looked to the sales building by the side. All right, brother. Xiao Yu nodded her head and drove the car to the front of the sales building. The Supreme Seas Development Zone was relatively pricier than the surrounding cities. The price of the villa started at 30 million each. From what he understood from his research online, the houses in this area weren't sold out yet. Xiao Yu stopped her car at the entrance of the sales building. After alighting, she skipped joyously to Wang Xian and held onto his arm. Excuse me, is there anything I can help you with? There weren't many people in the sales building. Only 4 to 5 salespersons were in it and they were just sitting by the side and playing on their phones. A beautiful saleslady asked after seeing Wang Xian and Xiao Yu walk in. Both of them were a little too young and no one had expected them to be buying a house. We would like to view the houses. How many houses are left in this zone? Wang Xian asked directly. We are only left with the 2 most expensive villas. Their prices are both above 60 million. As for the rest, they are sold out. The saleslady smiled and replied. Can you bring us to view the houses? Wang Xian asked directly. Are you sure you guys are buying? That sales lady looked at them in shock. Can't we view the houses? Wang Xian frowned and repeated his query. Yes, you can. Of course, you can. After taking a further look at their dressing, the sales lady nodded her head. In that case, bring us there. All right. Please wait a moment while I go get the keys. The sales lady nodded her head, took out 2 rings of keys before saying to them, please follow me. When she walked out of the sales building and saw the pink Bentley parked at the entrance, she was shocked. Soon, the smile on her face got deeper. Sir and Miss, let's get there by cable car. The development area of the Supreme Seas Development Zone was huge and the separations between villas were huge. Sitting in the cable car, the sales lady introduced the area to them enthusiastically. As of this moment, we still have 2 villas that aren't sold. These villas are also the best. The villas have 3 floors with an area of 1,500 square meters. There's also a car park slot beside the houses. The sales lady brought them to the first villa. Looking from outside the villa was exquisite. The villa had a large yard in the middle of it with different kinds of flowers grown. The villa had 3 floors with each floor spanning approximately 500 square meters. The house was already renovated and fitted with the necessary furniture. There was a study room, individual bathroom and even a gym. On the 3rd floor, there was even an indoor pool. The entire villa was extremely luxurious. The price for this villa is $73 million. There's another villa a short distance away. That villa would be over $80 million, the sales lady said to them. Let's go take a look at the other one. Wang Xian looked around the villa before saying this to the sales lady. The sales lady smiled and said, all right, sir. The other villa has a completely different style from this. When you open the window of the other villa, the seas are just right below. The interiors are fitted with the best sound isolation materials. Therefore, you won't find it noisy at night. Let me bring you guys there to take a look. Sure. When Wang Xian heard her words, his eyes lit up and he nodded his head immediately.